Let us open our minds. I know leadership don't need to run. Love don't mean retaliation. If we don't stop, if we parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If we parade, they celebrate. At the death of a child of slave. I'll never slave. Remember your forefathers' tears, the lives which was lost for us to see peaceful years when shots stop moving in flight. If we parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If we parade, they celebrate. At the death of the child of a slave. We don't stop. Open our minds. The child of a slave. Open our minds.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought series. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Tonight, y'all know this is the Hours of Power. I bring up three powerful brothers, and you know, I pick their brain for an hour, and then we get another powerful brother up here. I pick his brain for an hour. You know, you get the gist of it. We have been having two brothers, but tonight we're going to have three. Triple threat. We're going back to the triple threat. I hope y'all had a good week. And like I always do when I start off, I always start off thanking my contributors, because you guys, man, I mean, I never cease to be overwhelmed with how much you support this platform. It's like, it's unbelievable, man. It's like, I don't know. I'm humbled and I'm honored that you see value in this platform, that you wish to spend your hard-earned coins on this platform. I mean, because like I always say, you don't have to do it, but you choose to do it. And, you know, T.P.O.T, we're not this gigantic platform. You know, we're a pretty small platform, but our subscribers and our supporters have big hearts and big minds that I assume that I help open from time to time, and you see fit to donate to this platform. I am thankful. I'm grateful. I am beyond words. I'm perplexed with the amount of support that I get far as viewership and subscriptions and the coins that you donate. So once again, I want to say thank you. And those of you who donated, you know who you are, because I always sit down, like I always say, write you a personal email, whether it's 5 of you, 50 of you, or 500 of you. And I will continue to do that no matter how many. If I get 1,000 donations, I'll just sit down and have to write 1,000 emails thanking you for your generous contributions. Once again, I like to say I'm humbled and I'm honored that you see value in this platform. So let's get to it, because this is the hours of power. 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 Yeah. Now tonight, 3 special guests tonight. We got Brother King Sigma. We got Brother Rob and Brother C.R.U coming through tonight. But we're going to lead off with Brother King Sigma. What's good, Brother Sigma?
Hey, everything is great tonight. Thanks for having me on. It's my honor to be here tonight and join you with your audience and vibe tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, full disclosure, y'all. Me and Brother King Sigma, we did bump heads at one point. You know, we bumped heads over some bullshit that happened. You know, I'm not even going to go into it, but I do respect this brother, and I respect his intelligence. I respect his candor, and you know, some of the best allies you can have are people who were adversaries in the past. You know, just putting that out there for y'all. But anyway, I'm glad you could come through tonight, brother. Let me go ahead and start with the question that I always start with. Okay. What brought you to YouTube?
Okay. So February, March will represent my 1-year anniversary being a part of the Black Manosphere crowd. Prior to that, I was a person who I came to YouTube strictly for watching like business videos, documentaries, and the only type of podcast that I really followed was Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Mr. Neely Fuller. And I would watch their shows on the compensatory concept and produce justice topics. And I was a big fan of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And I'm still, you know, I do a lot of listening with Neely Fuller. He's one of the most intelligent and thoughtful Black men in America right now, but he's getting up there in age. So one day, I think YouTube had changed their algorithm. So I started seeing these clips for Black Manosphere content creators. And in particular, the first one that I think I came across was BGS. And I think he might have been the first one. And then through him, I found Obsidian, his channel. Then I found some of the Idmore channels, and it kind of just started from there. So initially, when I first came around, I didn't engage in any conversation in the chats. I just listened. I was trying to understand what was going on because I had heard of the white manosphere. You know, I'd come across some of their material as well. So when I started hearing ideas like red pill, you know, hypergamy, Brefeld's law, and things of that nature, I was already kind of familiar with that because I've always been like a sci-fi fan. I've always loved, you know, movies like The Matrix, V for Vendetta, just anything that's dystopian, but deals with the reality of history and human nature. So I was automatically attracted to that kind of content. And then I just started, you know, going into the chat once I started to get familiar with what was going on in the Black manosphere. And I guess you would kind of call me a contrarian troll, I guess you would say, because the way that I finally ended up on a panel was because I was disagreeing with Obsidian and his panel on some topic. And I guess he was tired of us talking about it in the chat. So he said, I'm going to open up the panel to anyone that wants to join. And I said, you know, what the hell? You know, I really feel what I'm feeling. I wasn't trolling at all. I really felt what I, you know, was saying in the chat. So we got on, we all vibed. We had a great conversation, and it kind of went from there. I started learning about other content creators, and, you know, I would just go on their channels, have conversation. I guess because I'm kind of a very contrarian American Black man. So it's kind of easy for me to get into like disagreements with a lot of other American black men on topics, which is very good because we need more contrarians. We need more dissenters. And I think that's what the red pill is about. It's about dissent. It's about freedom of speech. It's about challenging the status quo. And I kind of, went to different channels, and I really got into the panel thing when I got into it with BGS and his team over there over a conversation that Obsidian was having, because sometime last spring, there was this conversation about, everyone in the red pill community, the manosphere, the positive masculinity community have been trying to figure out how we as an American black population fell from grace in the 60s. It was the high point for black American progress as an ethnic group in this country was the 60s. And it's just been a straight fall from grace culturally, economically, and whatnot. And Obsidian at the time had made a comment about Jim Crow. And he had said something to the extent of black American families were better off during Jim Crow. And his whole thing is black family first. Now, that comment, whatever you feel about it, your response to that comment should be like, okay, why do you think that? And when you tell me why you believe that, then it's my job to refute what you said or agree with what you said or say I don't know. But instead, they went in on him, like a pack of hyenas. And that just really rubbed me the wrong way, man, because it was like, wow, like, why are they going in on this guy? He just made a statement, but no one's questioning what he said. So they just started attacking him personally. And I always think that that's like the lowest form of intellect, when you have to attack the person instead of their argument. And so that's kind of how that whole thing, I got familiar with Obsidian from that, because I saw that there were certain camps, as I was told on that BGS panel, and I got love for those guys over there. I don't have any problem with them whatsoever. They're good guys. But that's when I found out that the black manosphere was not one monolithic group. Because initially, I thought it was just one big group. But then I found out that there were like, 4 to 7 different tribes within the black manosphere itself. The largest tribe being what I call general red pill awareness. These are people that they just stick to the philosophy. Then the next group that I kind of found was the ones that focus on black family type issues. Then the other group, I guess you would call them the black masculinists. They're saying is black male first. Then you had the Ibmores. Then you had SYBM, the camp that I fall under, Save Yourself Black Man camp. And, the Passport Bros fall in that camp as well. And then you had another group. This is probably the last group. I would call them the purple pill manosphere guys. So that's kind of how I found that whole thing out. That's how I got introduced to the black manosphere.
So I know that you're a red pill guy. Do you consider yourself a MGTOW guy?
No, I would consider myself SYBM. I would definitely consider myself like almost like a scroll, you would say, of SYBM. I'm a person I'm a big fan of the websites expatkings.com, slayingevil.com. I'm a person who really believes in the what I would call the 4 pillars of SYBM. SYBM, unlike MGTOW, it's not about going your own way necessarily. It's about understanding that no one's coming to save you as a black man, right? Because when I've talked to Ibmores, they used to be MGTOWs. The black MGTOWs are actually Ibmores and the group that came out of Ibmores. So there's basically, from talking to Ibmores, there's really 2 groups in the Ibmores. There's one group that leans more heavily towards like Hotep socialism and dick policing. Then there's another group that is like represented by like the Black Rams of the world, the Darius MGTOWs, the Marcus A. Brown type guys who they're MGTOW and they have a lot of the principles of the white MGTOW, but in blackface. So Ibmores broke off from that because many of them felt that there was a racial tint to the white MGTOW group and that they were not really welcome amongst the white MGTOW. So I don't really know a whole lot about MGTOW. SYBM is different. SYBM is something that comes about as a response to being a black man in the black society, meaning Black Americans tend to be very collectivist. They tend to be very much in a herd mentality, and they tend to be very anti-intellectual, in big numbers. So for the SYBM man, his idea is that, you know, we believe in things like self-improvement, self-education, self-empowerment. Hello? Shit, what the... Brother Xavier? Brother Xavier, are you still there?
It just happened.
Okay.
All right, we back.
okay. Yeah, we got cut off. You know, they eavesdropping on us. They sent the whole army of agents of chaos. So who knows what they're trying to do tonight? But I don't know, where did I leave off at? Where did it cut off at?
You were talking about how you was giving a little synapses on the ideology of Save Yourself Black Man. Okay,
yeah. So the ideology of Save Yourself Black Man, a lot of the pillars, what I call the 4 pillars of SYBM. This is independent system that I came up with myself, but I would say self-improvement, self-education, self-empowerment, and ultimately self-actualization. And that is probably the most important pillar of SYBM, because when we talk about self-actualization, we're using Maslow's hierarchy of ideals. So basically, within the pillar of self-actualization, there's the first step, second step, third step, fourth step, and fifth step. So if you've ever read Maslow's hierarchy, he talks about the basic human need is to have physiological needs like, you know, air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, and reproduction. Now that's important. That's an important step relating to American Blacks, because what I've noticed as I've pondered on this is that American Black population, a large percentage of them, they stop at the step 1, right? And there's many, you know, variables and factors for why that is. But if you hear what I said, think about it. So if physiological needs is the first step on the path to self-actualization, large streams of the Black population are stuck at dealing with the basic needs of food, shelter, clothing, things like that. Okay, so once you're able to satisfy your physiological needs, you go to step 2, which would be, you know, safety, and that deals with, you know, your ability to have personal security, you know, employment, resources, get health care, and have shelter and things like that secured, and maybe even start, you know, buy a house. So that takes out a whole group of Black Americans as well. They stop there. They're not able to get to the third step, which is, this is where a lot of this third step is where the gender war comes from, love and belonging stage. So in that stage on the road to self-actualization, you're looking for positive friendship, positive intimacy, functional family, and a sense of connection to something beyond yourself. You're going outside the individual, family, friends, quote unquote, community or whatnot. Then once you've gotten past that phase, so a lot of the upper class Blacks, they make it to that step. And then this is the step, the 4th step before self-actualization is esteem. And that deals, you know, with respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. And I think that's the phase that a lot of Black manospherians are in. That's where they're at right now. That's step 4. And the final step would be self-actualization, which is desire to become most that one can be. So you've secured your money, you got the bag, you're in good health, you've learned some kind of skill set that allows you to make money on a regular basis with not too much concern. You got enough savings, you have positive relationships with the family, friends, or whatever. You're putting out positive energy. And then, so at the self-actualization phase, you are master of your own personal space. So I'll just stop there if you want to interject.
Well, let me ask you this. We know that it's a lot of, it's a lot of MGTOW. We know it's a lot of Red Pill. We know it's a lot of SYSBMs, IBMORs, and all of that. What do you think is the deep-seated, in your opinion, is the deep-seated reason that it's such a grand thing within Black men? Because I'm pretty sure it probably started off with white men. So why do you think it's such a grand thing with Black men now?
Because we're the group that, as a collective in the United States, if you look at person to person, we've never been able to operate outside of the rule of the ruling party, which has been, you know, white people. So white men and white women being in their shadows have been the ruling group in America since we got here. And black men have never had the agencies and ability to make their own decisions and operate like they want to outside of that system. So I think that's probably where that comes from, is that we're the most marginalized, most abused, and most attacked group in America, period, the black man. So we were doing, you know, quote unquote, what the white guys call MGTOW way before. Because let's think about it. Even if you go back to slavery times or whatever, since they started bringing it over here, when has it not been a situation where the white group couldn't have their way with our women? We never had. That's why that's a big conversation right now in the black manosphere about the big question in 2018 was, whose woman is she anyway? Referring to the American black woman. I'm glad that question came up. It's amazing that it took all these years that American blacks have been here, all these generations, 25 generations deep, and only now are black men having the power, the resources, and the brotherhood to have these conversations openly. And so ending the year, that was a big question, because, you know, with all the attacks on American black women by Asian store owners, white supremacists, which ironically, the same type of white men attacking these American black women are the only types that represent the swirling dating pool that they choose from, what we call the bottom shelf brads. So a lot of black men started asking the question because all these American black women are online, they got Twitter fingers, and they're like, oh, you know, these black men are not giving us protection, da, da, da. And so black men started saying, hold up. On one hand, you have 3 generations deep of telling black men that they ain't shit, that you're an independent and strong woman. But now with all these attacks, now all of a sudden you want protection. So they want all these entitlements without any personal obligations to them and not very many benefits to most black American men. So the question in 2018 was, whose woman is she anyway? Well, I thought on it, and based on all the evidence that I have, the American black woman, and I use the term American black woman because she's a special ethnic group within the black diaspora, and she's a very small group. The American black woman represents only 3 to 3.5% of the total black female population on Earth. Okay, she's a special group because, and we are too, us black men, we are too, because we represent about 3 to 3.5% of the diaspora as well. And we are 2 groups that were socially engineered by the white supremacist state. You see what I'm saying? Because we were brought from West Africa, Central Africa, and some other places. And there were even some blacks that some people claim were here. I can't back that up or not. I don't know. But there are people that say that there were blacks here before the transatlantic slave trade. But wherever they came from, these groups were put together and taken from all kind of different tribal orientations. That's why as we do the DNA testing, we're finding out that you and I as a black person, we are all kind of mixtures. We came from all kind of different locations. I know my family personally came from Central Africa, Cameroon. So my neighbors, they might find out they came from Nigeria, other ones from the Zulu. We're just discovering this stuff. So we were brought together as prisoners of war to the benefit of other groups and another class of people, and brought it to the United States strictly for like profit purposes. And the family relations and the cultures that arose out of that was a reflection of the system that we were in. So that's why I say black American black people are a socially engineered ethnic group. And that's why all this confusion, the gender war, that's why it's all happening in 2019, because finally black men can express what their desires are, their preferences, their goals, free of white authority. And then the proxy to the white authority, which is just now being discussed more and more openly, has been the socially engineered American black woman. Many American black women have operated as a proxy for the white supremacist state. And that's just now being talked about now by black men. They were there to hold black men in a certain kind of position. And now free with this great revolutionary technology that we're talking on right now, black men, the shackles have finally started to come off of the mind. So the shackles have been off of us to a certain extent physically for like 100 years or whatever. But now we're starting to attack what really matters, the 10 inches between your ears, the mind. So now black men are deconstructing every social idea and every historical thing that's been told to everything. We're deconstructing everything now. So we're in a space that makes a lot of people very, very uncomfortable. Black men are not supposed to be logical. We're supposed to be in our lower nature 24/7, like those urban brutes that we saw in the video that was released where they were ganging around that female. That's supposed to be the Black American male. That's the avatar. But the free-thinking Black men of the world are now saying, no, we are 100% never been about that. But now we're going to take control of our image, and we're totally separating ourselves from the Black rednecks. And that's why when I looked at that video, I was saying to myself, that's interesting. That's the result of 3 generations of this genetic breeding right there. That's the future of the American Black. When you saw the way that them wolves surrounded her and took her agency from her and took her space from her, that's going to be the future of the American Black population for the most part going forward, because the free-thinking Black men are pretty much, they're gone at this point. And that's going to become very clear in 2019 that top quarter of the Black male population is pretty much gone, especially as you look to people that are under 35 in that millennial, the millennials who, the oldest millennial today is 37 and the youngest is like 21, right? That group, it may be a finished as far as like the free thinking ones, the talented one in that group, they may be gone from the rest of the Black population. That generation may be gone. So I'll let you go ahead and interject if you have a question or not.
So do you think that you're going to see more, because there's some savagery, amongst Black society? Do you think there's going to be more savagery as the thinking Black men, kind of move off and go do what they're doing? Do you think there's going to be more of a kind of savage-like culture for other people in Black society?
I guess for me, that depends on the advocates for what I call the fantastical state of Americanda. So there's this idea of building this Black state within the United States. And the promoters of that and the advocates of that vision, we call them Hotep socialists, and the white liberal advocates. And who is another group? So it's like the white liberals, you have the Hotep socialists and the reformed convict Carls, and the females that, follow behind those groups. So if you look at if you're talking about from a man's standpoint, it's going to depend on if those 3 groups of men decide that if they're going to build that vision they want. So the white liberal man, the Hotep socialist man, and the reformed convict man, they are most responsible for that vision and that community that you're referring to. The free thinking Black man owes nothing to that community. That community has given nothing to those free thinking Black men. And you've heard hundreds of people talk about this. That's the beauty of these conversations. It'll be one thing if it was 1 person, 10. We're at the point where it's like, I can't keep track of all these guys in the comment sections telling their stories, going on panels. It's a large percentage of them who they have been rejected because, like I said, my theory is that there's a strong anti-intellectualism that runs rampant in the Black population in America. I really believe that. And I think a lot of these guys who have, even in 2019, you still have people using terms like you're acting white because you speak English. You can think and put a sentence together, and you're not walking down the street rapping to yourself with your pants sagging to your ankles. So somehow we went from strong Black intact families up till about 1980, 82 or something, around that time. And then that crack generation, that crack epidemic, it came through like a zombie virus, man, and wiped out so large of a population of the older Gen Xers and the younger baby boomers, right? And then on the back of that, we had a genre of music that took on a life and by itself, gangster rap and all of that stuff that came with that. So you already had the real life consequences of that, the deindustrialization of the United States, with all the companies leaving and going to foreign countries and destroying lots of families like my own, which I come from a working class family where my family, my family came up from Mississippi and Alabama to Chicago and Milwaukee. That's where most of my family ended up during that. My uncle, my mom's, their generation, they came up and ended up in Chicago, Milwaukee, and some in Detroit. So they were working for like Ford, S.E. Johnson Wax, Johnson & Johnson's, Case. All these major industrial companies were giving high salaries to black people with just high school diplomas or less. But during the 80s, you had the a lot of these companies left because of globalization and cheaper labor costs, and they went to Mexico, Asia, and other places, and those devastated cities like Milwaukee, Gary, Indiana, some parts of Chicago, some parts of Michigan, and these were all people that came up from the South back in the 60s and 70s. So that's kind of the context right there. So if it's going to be saved, it's going to be saved by those three groups of men I just mentioned to you, and you've heard them before. So you got the white liberal man, the Hotep socialist, and the reformed convict men. Those are the three that's going to. So I can't say yes or no yet. We'll see.
Well, you speak of the white liberals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you believe that they have? Well, let me rephrase the question. Do you believe who is more to blame when it comes to the shortcomings of black society? Do you think black people are more to blame, or is it the effects of the white liberals? Who is more to blame for some of the shortcomings within black society out of those two groups?
I would say that it's about 75% the blacks themselves and 25% the dominant white culture over the last 40 years. I would say. Obviously, before that, when you're talking about before the passage of the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, then I would put 80% on the white society and 20% on blacks. So it's mostly on the blacks themselves at this point, because we some people say white supremacy, others say it's the relationship between black men and black women. I make the claim that it's culture, that the problem is anti-critical thinking and a regressive, dysfunctional culture. So I think it's more culture than anything, than even just specifically the relationship between the black man and the black woman, or white supremacy as a system and a religion in itself.
So do you think that religion has somewhat hampered black people as a society and the black culture? Do you think that religion is somewhat culpable?
Oh, I think religion.
Black religions, that is. The
I think
religions
that religion. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the religions that black people follow or subscribe to, if you will.
Well, I think that religion is a set of values and a system that's supposed to improve your life and to make you a better moral character. So religion itself is not the problem, because if you go back and read the Old Testament, you're a Muslim and you read the Quran, or you're a Buddhist, or whatever your religious values are, the goal of religion is to make you a more pure person in your behavior by putting because religion is a set of codes. Let's take, for example, the Talmud and the Torah. That's the code of conduct for Jewish people and people that believe in Judaism. And it seems to be working pretty damn good for them. So it's not that it's religion, it's the way that black people may practice religion. So I think with a lot of American blacks, they say that they're religious, but if you ask most of them, pointed out passages in the Bible and things like that, most of them have never read the Bible. Most of them have never read the older books of their so-called religion. They're just following behind those that have been appointed with a title, usually pastor or whatnot, and they just go along with that. So I don't think that religion is the problem. I think that our own personal value system or lack of a value system is the problem. Our own poor upbringing. I made reference to the video of the young savages that were surrounding the apparently American black woman at the gas station. You have to ask the question. The first thing that came to my mind was, I was reading these comments from all these black women, right? So right away, oh, see, this is how black men are. And I'm thinking to myself, that represents like a quarter of black males. 75% of black males will never get caught dead doing that. The next question I was like, okay, now where are their parents at? Now, if you was to make a guess, what would you say are the type of households that those 6 to 10 guys came from?
Baby mamas.
Bingo, bingo. There you go. I didn't hear not one of these black women mention the fact that those are the products of fatherless homes right there. And then they're like, oh, this is why I want to go be with Zaddy. So the reason that they want to go be with Zaddy is because a few black rednecks is doing what black rednecks have been doing for 2 generations. They got a father, they got a mother. Their father's probably dead or in prison or in the hood, laying a bunch of more seeds. And their mama was probably a thought, more than likely. I'm just guessing here, but I'm guessing that these are the products of black redneck breeding. That's what's so fascinating about the whole thing. To hear the response from these American black women without recognizing that these dudes didn't just appear like a genie in the thin air. They are the products of black redneck households. Period. And they probably got kids. At least half of those dudes probably got a baby mama somewhere out there.
Well, won't you explain to everybody what a black redneck is?
Oh, when we talk about black redneck, the first principle of being a black redneck is someone who is an anti-intellectual. That's the first thing. Anti-morals, lowbrow culture, someone that their lower desires controls any kind of cognition they got going on upstairs. That's the main part of being a black redneck. Someone that is non-productive, incompetent, and not really generally able to function in a capitalist high-tech society. See, that black redneck culture is not fit for this competitive high-tech culture that we find ourselves in as we enter 2019. Because it's all about production now and efficiency now in 2019. Production and efficiency, working smart, not necessarily working hard. Less labor and more production. That's where we're at. Black redneck culture is opposed to that. And that is a response to white redneck culture. That's where every culture has their rednecks. These are the people that have anti-family values. These are the people that have anti-productivity standards. And they are focused on their lower natures. They think about the moment and not the consequences to come. These are all qualities of black rednecks. They have shared attitudes and values and expectations that are very much shared amongst their group of people. Same kind of behavior, similar dress style, similar taste in music, similar taste in their virtues and their vices. Very similar taste. But the strongest thing I would say about the black rednecks is that they're anti-intellectual and anti-family values.
Now, on these YouTube streets, if you will, you often hear people talk about, you know, the black race is breeding out, and you know, you have the talk of how some brothers are off to be with Becky or Chun-Li or Maria or whatever you want, you know, whatever you want to ascribe to that.
Right.
Do you subscribe to that? Do you subscribe to the fact that, you know, the black race is about to be bred out, so black men need to go ahead and be with black women no matter what?
No, I don't agree with that at all, because like I said, when you talk about the black race, we have to be very specific. We're talking about a sub group that's unique to this whole black diaspora. See, the American black population is only about 40 to 41 million people, right? That's 6% of the overall black population of the world. So when we talk about, is the American black population going to be right? No, because still 30% of black men and women are getting married. And I think what the real question is the black redneck culture and the black bourgeoisie, are they going to totally break? And if that's the question, I would say absolutely. So when we hear these conversations coming from usually black misandrists, when they say things like, oh, y'all trying to go be with Becky, you're a fucking idiot. For the simple fact that I just said, the global black population is about 1.2 billion. And in that population, there's about 600 million black women outside of in the total population. So 96% of that population is outside of the United States. I mean, for example, I was looking at something on Brazil. Brazil has like 15 to 16 million black people there. So we got to assume that they have about 8 million women. You look at places like Europe, there's like 6 million black women walking around there. Just collectively, there's millions, like 600 million black women on the planet, and only 20 to 21 million are here. So when you say the black thing is going to continue, most black men want to be with a black or brown skinned woman. So that rejects the first conclusion that those detractors come to, right? If you talk to most black men, they will tell you that they're not even thinking about Becky as much as they are thinking about finding a cooperative, attractive, feminine, black or brown skinned woman. That's why you have men making those trips to these Latin American countries now, jumping on planes. And I haven't even gotten to the fact that Asian women, biracial women, do you understand? Latina women, you know how many women you got to go through to finally get to Becky? Remember what I just said. 96% of the population of black women are outside the United States. 96%, man. We're talking about an untapped resource of beautiful, attractive feminine women just waiting for us free-thinking black men with resources and also with the kind of leadership qualities that they would love, because our value goes up in those cultures, not just because of intelligence, our Western education, our money, our style, and our energy. So I don't even got to get to each specific country, but you can just imagine in your head, the black American population, only 3% of the black female population on earth. So it's untapped. This should scare a lot of people. So the black population ain't going nowhere, but as black as defined by black rednecks, that population, I think they're going to go the way of Native Americans. I actually think, in my mind, I see a future where the black rednecks are taken out of urban America, put on reservations, Section 8 reservations, like hours away from any urban centers, and left there to breed themselves out, to drug themselves out like the Native Americans to extinction. I could see a situation where that happens. But as far as black people, they're still going to be American black couples, but they're going to be the top quarter of the American black classes. And that presents a big problem, obviously, because the black free thinking men outnumber the available women, because you're not just competing for the top American black women with your own American black men. A lot of these women don't even respect American black men. They only accept them because they're at the bottom of the totem pole as far as the races, and they would monkey branch to other races at the snap of fingers if those races give them attention. Because think about it. Think about how good a bottom shelf Brad that just gets online talking about, I love black women, they queens. That dude that had like 15,000 donors and 1,000 dates lined up for next year, he could be a straight bottom shelf white trash boy. So there's so much competition. If you're a black man and you want to keep it within the American black women population, you're going to be 10 to 1. That woman has the advantage in that situation, because for every one woman like that's available, there's, I ain't gonna even say 10, it's probably 100 dudes that's in her phone, in her DMs every single day. So that's just, the numbers don't even match up. So that creates a situation where that female is going to be hypergamous, and she's going to be so desired that even if the dude that she selects, if it's an American black man, he got to always keep his head on a swivel with her, because she might be always looking for the next best thing. Whereas if those black men start looking elsewhere in other groups of black women on the planet, other races, that'll balance that situation out quick. That would take all the power that's been used against American black men to abuse them. So I totally disagree with that argument.
So you as a black man, you have no interest in American black women, right?
Oh, no.
You have no interest in them at all.
Well, the current woman that I'm dating right now, she's East African, but my girlfriend, her was an American black woman. So I still have interest in American black women. I could still, knock quality American black women. But me being SYBM, that doesn't have so much to do with mating for me as it does to do with anti-intellectualism and just not wanting to be part of any kind of collective. The female part takes care of itself. In fact, I've always said that the one thing I like about American black women, there's usually no question if she likes you or not. Usually American black women are aggressive. They're usually pretty easy to, get with and things like that. So that, no, I would never say that, because I think that when I was born, there were 70,000 women on the planet born that same day that were supposed to be within my spiritual constellation. Because I believe in a lot of metaphysical things. So there's going to be American black women in that group. There's going to be some Asian women in that group. There's going to be some biracial women in that group. There may be some white girls. I don't really go for the white girls as much because, having attended a Big Ten university, growing up in the Midwest, I've laid enough American white women to know that there's nothing really all that special about them, except that they're nicer than most American black women meet. But besides that, nothing really all that special about them. So no. I'm definitely not one of these people that is against American black women. Like, oh, I'm never. No, I don't think that. I do have conversation with a lot of men in the black manosphere that feel that way. I know a lot of brothers that have just said, I don't even want an American black woman. I don't even want to fuck one. I've heard a lot of guys say that I'm talking about these guys have the mentality where they work 6 months out the year, don't even mess with no American girls. A lot of them don't even mess with any American girls, and they love it overseas so much that they go overseas for 6 months with having their girlfriend experience over there, maybe even dropping some seeds or whatever. But they've given up. I'm not one of those guys. I haven't 100% given up because my experience with American black women has been overall good. The women that I've dated, ex-girlfriends, they've been cool, but I only date upper class black women. I came from, a lower working class family. That's why I tell people, I've been married before. And the only reason I would get married again in America is if I'm marrying up. I would not suggest that in America, a man gets married unless he can marry up or at least at his level. Outside of that, there ain't no reason to get married, in my opinion, anymore in America, as we see in 2019. So if my next girlfriend is an American black woman and it fits into what I've always done, dating women that are above my class, then that's fine with me too.
Okay. So when you take a brother like yourself, because you said you were married before, right?
Yeah. My ex-wife was Persian and Italian. She was an American black woman.
Oh, okay. Okay. So a brother like you've been through marriage and, you're a red pill brother. So do you think that what causes many of these women to react the way they do, some in real life and a lot on YouTube? Do you believe that do you think that they are agitated with the fact that brothers like yourself won't have anything to do with them? Or do you think they're more agitated with the fact that, it's becoming a bigger thing? It would be one thing if it was just you and maybe a couple other guys saying it. But like you said earlier, there's a collective saying it. So what do you think bothers the American black women? What do you think bothers them the most about, brothers like you?
Well, I think that, okay, I'll put it to you like this. So I was listening to a conversation with a couple red pill guys, purple pill guys, and a group of bimbo brigade females. And when we talk about the bimbo brigade females, we're talking about, post-wall mammies, degraded ghetto gaggers, and your overall ratchets. And I'm sitting there listening to the conversation of this panel, and I came up with my own. I heard someone use the term dominated by white men. And they were making the reference that American black men are dominated by white men. And that was a weird conversation to listen to, because I'm like, hold on. So these post-wall mammies are saying that black men are dominated by white men. And to me, that's almost like two people sitting in a prison cell and they're on death row and they're both in the same cold, funky ass cell. And they got the same jumpsuit on and they're facing the same time. And then one of them, there's a big mirror on the opposite wall. So picture a big mirror on the opposite wall. And this one is pointing the finger at the other prisoner in the same cell, stanking just like them, and saying, you're dominated by the prison wardens and the guards. And I'm thinking to myself, this is what I'm seeing. I'm listening to two prisoners arguing. Now, I also was thinking to myself, like, okay, let's say I accept that idea that we American black men are dominated by the white supremacist state, as they say. So I would have to ask myself, this is where I think they're having a problem at, because now those black men are saying, okay, I'll accept your conclusion, I'm dominated, but I'm going to find a way out of this damn prison. So when you talk about SYBM and you talk about red pill is like, Shawshank Redemption type shit, right? Where you're slowly, surely finding a way out of this prison system. And a lot of that has to do with getting out of the matrix. So, you're asking yourself about this person's accusation of being dominated. Now that you've accepted their idea, I'm dominated in this prison. I'm in this prison with you, but I'm the dominated one. Okay, but I'm gonna get the fuck out of this prison. So I gotta ask myself, in order to escape, are you a liability to me or are you an asset to me as my fellow prisoner? And I'm talking about the American black man and the American black woman. What has happened is that the red pill man and the free thinking black men have said, hold up, I either can discard this person completely. I don't need them. They just told me they don't need me. and I definitely don't need them to get out of this prison. Or I can just find replacements or go it alone by myself or link up with other like-minded prisoners that are trying to get out too. So when you look at it from that bigger view, you got to come to the question, and this is, see, once you accept their premise that we're dominated, you got to say these women are asking themselves the question, why are they being dominated by white men and white women? And even once they remove us American black men from the equation, what is her standing going to be with the dominant society? And I think that's what's happening, is that these women are asking that question. So they say that we're dominated by the white men, but here's the thing, you in prison too, and you're being dominated by the white men that you idolize as your God, and you're also being dominated by that white woman who you in your thoughts wish that you could be her or at least replace her. So when you remove these so-called dominant American black men from these dating pools, from these social pools, that's when these women get very nervous, because now they don't got nobody to abuse anymore. That's why you're seeing a rise in lesbianism, asexuality, mental disorders amongst these women is out of control. I have a prediction for you. You got a lot of these post-war mammies of the bimbo brigade out here. At least one of those women is going to commit suicide soon. We're going to start hearing a lot about suicide amongst these women that get on these internet, that got the Twitter finger thing. You're going to start seeing a lot of suicides. So I think that's what's it's that cold ghost that's coming over their shoulder, because they're seeing a pool of men who, because of the restrictions of America, were limited to this group of women for cultural reasons and also legal reasons for a long time. The social taboo has been broken, and it was actually broken by American black women with the Virginia Loving case. Another typical case, a pretty decent looking American black sister at the time with a bottom shelf redneck Brad that they tried to turn into some Romeo and Juliet shit. So they opened the gate, you know, in the 60s or whatever, whenever that case was, for this whole intermixing thing. It took 3 or 4 decades, but now it's the norm amongst millennial men. I don't hear a lot of these conversations about the gender war are really between the Gen Xers, baby boomers, and their women of those groups, because most millennial men ain't even thinking about it like that. They're going where they're going to be celebrated without being. Why do you think the shaming tactics don't work on younger men? They don't care what you say. They're seeing your misery. They're seeing the divorce rate. They're seeing you not being able to see your kids. They're seeing you go to jail for child support. They're not trying to go down that path anymore. They're not trying to die at 50 from heartburn, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, from dealing with a woman. I know in the Bible it talks about that, like it's better to be alone in the desert than with a nagging whore as your wife. So that's where a lot of this anger and animosity is coming from, these post-war mammies, because they know that they've reached their peak and that the men that they wish they could be with, it ain't gonna happen. The best they can hope for is a blue pill simp. But even that blue pill simp, that beta orbiter pool is drying up really, really fast. And it's going to spread like wildfire as of 2019 if the black manospherians cannot destroy themselves. Because we got some thorough brothers up in here, man. I'm not even talking about the consecrators. It's thorough brothers in the chats that don't even drop in. They just watch, like I was a lurker for a couple months, and they're peeping this game, and they're digesting this in their mind and body and soul, and they're putting to the test everything that we say, and we're telling no lies. And so those women are coming in to infiltrate, just like in the movie The Matrix, because we get the concept of red pill and blue pill from The Matrix. In The Matrix, there's this scene that a lot of people overlook, and it's called The Woman in Red. Do you remember that scene?
Mm-hmm. I watched all of the Matrix trilogies.
Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. So remember, the lady in red is symbolic of the whore of Babylon, right? She's a part of the system. She's a part of the gynocentric state, and she's put there to distract you from your self-actualization. Now, we wasn't dealing with this in the Black Manosphere when I first came in last winter. Now, in the last quarter of 2018, all of a sudden, all these ladies in red appeared out of nowhere. And these ain't even like the A squad or the B squad or C. This is the D squad, right? So you got the D squad, ladies in red, or the whores of Babylon appearing in this space where they're not welcome. They don't have any really purpose here but to destroy. But they're the testing dummies for bringing in, like, you know, the better looking, more attractive, more desirable women to see if they can break this whole thing up into like and turn into like some kind of purple pill type shit. And so that's why I say 2019 is either going to be the year that makes us or breaks us. The manosphere is entered on Wikipedia now, but the black manosphere is not. So it will be interesting to see if the black manosphere makes it, if we're able to make that jump to the next level by staying true to red pill philosophy, or if the horrors of Babylon are able to break us all up and make us run off into little, holes in underground. So that's what I'm going to just keep my eyes on it in 2019.
Well, let me ask you two more questions, because I got someone else coming up in a few minutes. You talked about how these women often talk about how, black men are dominated by the white power structure and white supremacy. Let me ask you about white supremacy. Do you subscribe to the white supremacy boogeyman? And also, because it's a two-pronged question, do you feel that we as black people use the white supremacy boogeyman too much as an excuse or a reason or a defense?
Yeah, I would say that, like I said, for me, my thought is that the biggest thing hampering American blacks in this country is their culture. They have a very regressive, anti-capitalist, anti-intellectual, anti-family culture. So I would say it's mostly on them. But if you're asking me, do I believe that there is a white supremacist system that has existed or does this? Of course. This country was built on discriminating against blacks, oppressing black Americans. But the question becomes, at what point did it end, or did it end? And for me, it never fully ended, but the worst damage that blacks have done is to themselves. I'll give you an example. I mentioned to you in our own offline that my grandfather was a landscaper and he lived down in Gulfport, Biloxi, Mississippi. And, the Ku Klux Klan was very active down there for a long time, even up into the 90s, when I was a kid. And I remember this letter came to our house. This was from the Ku Klux Klan. This was really deep. I was in like 5, 6 years old. And I remember my grandfather read this letter from the Klan. And it was like, thank you niggers for killing yourself. And it had all this like statistical data about like how blacks were killing themselves and having out of wedlock children. And he was saying, and it was signed, Grand Wizard. And it said, you're doing a good job for us. That always stuck in my head, man. That letter that was sent by the Klan to my grandfather. But for him, that was normal. You know what I'm saying? He was born in Jim Crow. Even when he left to Chicago and started a family, he ended up back down south once he retired and still working until his death. So that was normal for them. But that right there let me know that I would never be a black redneck. I would never join the group of people who create an image of themselves that denigrates themselves, that lowers their value, and that puts them in a situation for extermination. You have to remember, propaganda is what was used on the Jews to make the Holocaust. The Holocaust didn't happen overnight. They used a negative image of the Jews, and once it was widespread enough, the Germans hated them. They said these people are subhumans, or they're not humans at all. They need to be exterminated. So it was easy to make them a scapegoat for society. If American blacks continue down the path that they are continuing down as a large number of people, they're going to be put on history as the next group to be exterminated. Genocide is a natural part of human societies. It goes in cycles, and the next cycle, it will probably be American blacks in this country, because no one's concerned about the issues related to American blacks. No one cares about them anymore, and they may think that the white liberals are their friends. We already know that the right wingers are not our friend, but it's a lot of black people out there that really believe that white liberals care about them, even though they've been warned by greats like Malcolm X to never trust any of these white people to have your best interests at hand. You have to take on the cultural values that will allow you to compete in society. And as long as we have an anti-intellectual and anti-family values, most of us are probably going to be exterminated in 20, 30 years. I really believe that. I'm not even just being hyperbolic or anything. I really believe if American blacks continue down the path they are continuing down, with the resources drying up, the government shut down right now. What if the government and all these white people that are still the biggest population decide, you know what? I kind of like this government shutdown thing. We don't need the government as much as we thought we needed them. What if they actually start saying stuff like that? Then what? So that's where I'm at on it. The white supremacy dropped Jim Crow. Once they did that, it became much more difficult to pinpoint how white supremacy was operating because it was so obvious. So Jim Crow and all that stuff ending, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is what I can control. If I'm a believer in there's some things that I can't control and there's some things I can control. I can control that instead of going out and get drunk tonight, I decided to come on here and chop it up with the prophet and have a productive and constructive conversation that will make me think more deeper and maybe challenge someone else to think deeply. I can control that, but there's certain things that I can't control. And when you start talking about white supremacy, you're talking about something that in a lot of ways is invisible at this point. And they don't even have to do any work anymore because we're doing a great job. The Ku Klux Klan cannot, I don't even know if they killed as many people as American blacks themselves have killed over the last 30 years. I'm sure that American blacks have killed more of our own, just like the little 7-year-old girl. I'm still wondering, where are the Hotep socialists on this 7-year-old girl getting killed by 2 black redneck men? I'm not hearing nothing. So our own cultural values is what's holding us back the most. White supremacy is going to do what it does. But what can you control? I know you can control your mating behavior. I know you can control your dysgenic breeding behavior. You have total control over that. I know that the libraries are still open. I know that Wi-Fi is free. And instead of watching World Star Hip Hop, you could be on there watching and learning the things that you need to succeed in society. So I concentrate on what the individual, him or herself, can control. And we got a whole lot of control and a whole lot of power that we're not tapping into because we're in our lower self and we're scapegoating and using excuses for why we can't do something. And it's going to be a day when that group, on one hand, you say that you hate this group, but on the other hand, you worship this group. And it's going to be a day where they just shake you off and say, you know what? We can't help you no more. Then that's the day we're going to find out where people really stand.
I agree. I agree totally, man. This has been pretty insightful, man, but I knew it would be, man, because I'll say again, man, I got a lot of respect for your intelligence, man, and your knowledge of stats and facts and figures and things of that nature, man. I got a lot of respect for it, brother. And I'm glad you took time and came up on here tonight, man. Let me chop it up with you a little bit. Hopefully this isn't the last time you come through the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. You're always welcome here. Maybe you should stop by on a Thursday night, one night, you know, with the Headbangers Brawl on old DXL where it gets a little crazy. But okay, you're always welcome to the party, man.
Well, all right, man. I really appreciate it, Prophet, and I look forward to also watching your channel grow. You've become like a template for me in the sense that I call it the Prophet gutting at the hands of the daggles. So every time I see a certain kind of Hotep-oriented individual pop up in this space, I say, okay, Prophet is the template for if they're going to make it to the other side or if they will go back to the Hotep side. So that I think that you're a historical figure now because everyone uses you as the standard by which to measure a lot of these Hotep socialists that come to this area now because you had to learn the hard way. So I look forward to seeing your channel growing. I look forward to seeing you embrace more the red pill philosophy, and I think it's going to just be good for everybody.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that I could inadvertently be an example to brothers. I'm glad that I could be an example to brothers. You know, at least OX is good for something. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you coming through, brother, man. I do, and like I said, man, don't let it be the last time. All right.
All right, man. I'm gonna drop off and join the chat and listen to the next guys to join the panel.
All right, brother. Peace.
Yep.
Yeah, just got off the line with brother King Sigma. Up next on the old we supposed to be having brother Rob come through, and brother C.R.U is up after that. I did send brother Rob the link. Maybe something happened. I don't know. I give him a few minutes. Brother Rob, if you're in the chat, come through. Come through, my brother. Maybe something happened. Maybe he fell asleep. I don't know. Maybe he fell asleep. Maybe watching another stream. I don't know. He might be watching another stream. So this is what I'm going to do to keep the old hours of power rolling. I guess I'll go ahead and bring on brother C.R.U. Oh, okay. Okay. I see you up there, brother Rob. All right. Our next guest has arrived on the old Hours of Power. Brother Rob, what's good, brother?
Yeah, my fault. I had to mute YouTube. What's going on, family?
I'm good. I'm good. You?
All right, all right. I'm coming through clear.
Yep.
All
Loud and
right,
clear, man.
all right.
Um,
So,
we'll get right into it because I watch brothers' channels, before I bring them up on here. And I noticed one thing about you that stuck out right off the rip is that you're an educator, right? So
that's correct. Mm-hmm.
that lets me know that you're into the youth. So let me ask you this: what got you into the education field? What made you take that field?
Sure. I was coming out of sales. I had actually been in sales for a number of years. At the time, I was a personal banker with Washington Mutual, and I was doing really well. I was making some decent money. I could talk my mouth a little bit, you dig? So the branch manager, she was trying to get me to sell second mortgages. And I told her goofy ass I wasn't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm making money without selling that product and I refuse to sell it. And so one thing led to another and I quit. I left. And at the time, I was coaching Little League baseball and Pop Warner football. And the principal of an alternative school, Miss Keisha Davis Johnson, needed a coach. And so I told her, yeah, no problem. I'll come over there and coach. I wasn't working at the time, and I just figured, I'm going to come up there after school. I'm a coach they little teams and then go to the crib. Not so much, fam. They threw me right into the fire. I was doing detention after school, coaching, and then I don't know. I mean, it ended up being a passion for me. After a while, after I got my feet fully wet after my first year, and then the population that we service here in Chicago in the alternative school network, you can look it up on YouTube or I mean not YouTube, but under Google. It's called a Youth Connection Charter School. So that's the charter, and ASN Alternative School Network. They are also heavily involved with the funding for these charter schools, and what we do primarily is if you got kicked out of your community school, your neighborhood school, right? You wasn't going, your ops go there, you ain't going to school, you dig? Like, man, they might shoot your ass, you know, you end up getting dropped from their books because you literally not showing up to school. Some people get pregnant, some people go to jail for a second. Everybody's story different. You moved from out of town. Everybody got different stories. So uh, we give those kids a legitimate second chance to get their diploma, no matter what their background is. So, man, I love what I do, bro. I feel like I don't even really be working, you know. Um, I love working with our people. I love them kids. If you go on my page, you said you went on my page. I did an exposed video on myself. I was really at the time, it was all kind of exposed videos on YouTube. We got all the way from information, started exposing each other. So I just thought I'd do a video on myself and expose myself. Uncle Suge exposed me and shit. And And it ended up, you know, to me, in my opinion, it ended up being dope because you know, you give it, you know, it gave the kids a completely different light in terms of their innocence. You can see their innocence, even though I know their story. I ain't gonna say anything negative about them. You know what I'm saying to y'all, because I want you to see them as teenagers, not people that's on parole for attempted murder. You feel me? You know, so that's where I'm at with it. You know, I was listening to the other brother, and I agree with a lot of points that he was making. But in controlling our image, we also need to control our intentions. And so I'm very intentional in what I do every morning when I get up to go to work, and I'm very intentional in the information that I share on my platform, what I put in the chat room. You know, I try to be accountable and responsible, you know. So there it is. That's how I got into education. And I'm thinking about the kids. What if they, you know, mess around and be in the chat room? Oh, Brother Rob, that's Mr. Williams, that's Dane Williams. You know what I'm saying? I can't be in the chat room talking about roll one up and you know what I mean? Being
True.
reckless and all of these things. So we have to be, in my opinion, you know, very intentional and very cognizant of the messages that we put out here. You know, our desires have to get in line with our goals. You know, so that's where I'm at with it.
I agree. Now you're an educator in Chicago. Chicago's a tough place, but I was watching that video, the opening video that I watched. It seems like the young folks, they really respect you, man. They have a lot of respect for you, man. So I would imagine you're hard, but you're probably really fair, because that's when you get respect from young folks, when you're hard and fair at the same time. Is that true? Are you hard and fair with them?
Oh, yes, sir. I would say that I'm fair. You know, a couple of the students that go to the school, they probably wouldn't say so, you know. But absolutely. If you know anybody in Chicago, we got orientation coming up January the 13th. It starts at 3 o'clock. You must be on time, and you must, you know, come in there correct. Because if you don't, you know, your eyes red, you smell funny, anything like that, you know, I'm gonna send you home. You know, I'll give you another chance. But my philosophy is very simple, brother. You got two options when you dealing with Dean Williams. You either gonna do good or you gonna do good. That's it. It ain't nothing else. There's no in between. You know what I'm saying? There is no in between. So you know, it's an expectation. And if I would give anybody any advice in terms of a best practice, when you lay expectations and you stand on it, right? They will respond. Children, they are looking for structure. And so if we would only offer it to them in a meaningful way, in a purposeful way, in an intentional way. You know, I mean, look out, man. Look out. The minister is correct when he say this is the most powerful generation that we didn't ever produced. You know, he's correct. You know, that recklessness that we see in them, if we would only channel it, you know. I don't demand respect. You know, I tell them out loud, I don't need your respect. I know who I am. You know, what I'm trying to determine is who are you gonna be after you finish dealing with my program? That's where I'm at with it, bro. You're gonna find out. And when they graduate from my school, you got four options. You know, I'm not making better drug dealers, family. You feel me? I demand that. I'm not playing. I don't play games. You know, I crack jokes with the best of people, you know, and but I don't play games. I mean, if you send your child, you know, to my organization, to the school, I take that serious. I mean, I have to be on point, and so I expect for them to be on point. And I mean, if I am holding myself accountable, um, obviously I can demand that from them. So, like I said, my philosophy is simple. I have the utmost respect for who I deal with. Um, the expectations are simple. It's something that's attainable. Um, and they just gonna have to do it, or they gonna have to do it. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that's simple. I mean, a lot of times, and I'm just being honest. A lot of educators make this too complicated. It's very simple to me. I tell kids don't tell me. You know, that's like you show up to the doctor and the doctor like, well, you need this prescription. You like, no, doc, I was looking on YouTube and yeah, I need this other prescription. So you ain't gonna tell a motherfucking doctor that went to school for 20 years what to give you. You see what I mean? I tell your kid out loud, you don't know shit. And so I'm here to teach you. You know what I mean? And if you're not feeling that, here's an early dismissal and we just try it again tomorrow. Or you go into detention. Or your ass gonna show up to school on time, or that's it. You know what I'm saying? Call your mama. Here go a list of schools. That's why I'm effective.
Well, as a brother in education, do you think that we need more brothers like yourself in schools, especially because 80% of teachers are white women, which I think is way too damn many in this country. Do you think that we need more brothers as educators? Would that be a plus in schools?
Yes, sir. I absolutely agree that we do need more black men who are educators. But at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, it has to be intentional. It has to be done with a purpose. Please don't become an educator because, it's a lot of fine women teachers. Don't become an educator because the pay good. You gonna burn out before you get started. And if you don't burn out and your eyes just glaze over and you come to school, you like Mueller, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna be that dude, our kids don't need that image in their head, you know. They confused enough, you know. They confused enough. We got enough distractions. So we don't need anybody that's going, it would be great to have more male educators. Let me be very clear on that point. But at the same time, it has to be intentional. And you know, I would suggest brothers go and look at Dr. Lenore Bennett, his philosophies on education. That's who I kind of model myself after, Dr. Lenore Bennett, Dr. Barbara Sizemore, John Henry Clark, these type of people.
Yeah, because when you think, I know me, when I think about educators, an educator isn't what you do, it's more so who you are. So, I mean, if you're going to be educating children, it has to be something that's in you. It's got to be something you'd be willing to do, even if you wasn't getting paid. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So when I see brothers like you, I have a lot of respect for brothers like you because I grew up in a place where, when I went to school, I mean, I didn't see a black teacher until I went to college. I mean, I didn't see any black teachers. I saw a black janitor, but I never saw, I didn't, when I got to college, I was like, damn, there's actually black teachers because I didn't have any black teachers when I was coming up in school. None of them, and I lived in a town that was, 60% black, but
Right.
there were no black teachers. So
Right.
I agree.
Well,
I think,
yeah, that leads to the point, if I was to talk about my upbringing and how I view my purpose. as a young man because Chicago is so super segregated. I would say it's the most segregated city in the world, not just the country. Um, all of my teachers, the principal was black at the elementary school that I went to, and then when I went to high school, the principal once again was black. Most of my teachers were black, but of course I had a few Caucasian Caucasoid teachers in high school. Uh, so and then these people, some of them were radical. You know what I mean? Some of them were former Black Panthers. Some of them were Blackstones, GDs. These people were like, the original gang members. The original 21, stuff like this. So, you know, growing up in that, bro, a lot of guys from Chicago. That's why they so edgy. You know what I mean? So, uh it's great educational wise if we could funnel it in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Take, eat the meat, spit out the bones, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Mm.
Well, let's talk about Chicago a little bit. Have you always lived in Chicago, or have you always lived there?
Yes, sir. Born and raised, South Side all day, 079. You know, shout out to anybody from Ill Street that's listening to Dome all day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I love my city, and that's what kind of brung me to YouTube. Um, initially, when President Trump got elected, because I wasn't a YouTuber, initially when President Trump got elected, he was talking about, if anybody remember, if you remember, he was talking about bringing troops to Chicago, because of the violence. You remember that, bro?
Yeah, the FBI, National Guard, and every damn body else.
Yeah. But see, what's not mentioned here in Chicago, we had a governor, Governor Rauner. He was just recently voted out of office, right? He was a Republican. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that the two-party system here in the United States of Chicago has ever been a friend to Black people. I'm not that politically naive, right? But I will say that this Republican governor was probably, for the time, the worst person to be governor. So this is what he did immediately when he took office, brother. Right? He closed all of the mental health clinics here in Chicago. Right? Then, if you ever heard of this documentary that is called The Interrupters, you know what I'm saying? A sister I grew up with, her name Amina Matthews. You know what I'm saying? That she was part of a organization called Ceasefire, right? And so they was putting down the beefs and keeping the murders down. You know what I'm saying? And if you just Google it and look at the murders, you will see a big old dip. That was Ceasefire. So these are people who were formerly in gangs, fresh out of prison. You know what I'm saying? Working, clean up the streets, right? Who can work for free though, right? This man cuts the funding. You know what I mean? Then if you add on the fact that they knocking down the projects here in Chicago, right? So let me break this down for you, right? Let's say, for instance, you stayed in the building, they was all gangster disciples, right? And then your Section 8 move you over into a part of the city where it ain't all gangster disciples, right? You could understand what's about to happen. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? So this is what added
Yeah.
to all of that violence, that uptick, all of a it was socially engineered. And that was the video that I made the video on Facebook. My son created me a YouTube channel and then put the video on YouTube. The shit was running for about 2 weeks before I even knew it was it was on there. And then that's like my most watched video. You know what I'm saying? But it was just me ranting that morning you know what I'm saying, saying to black people here in Chicago, oh, that shit, man. When I think about it right now, it's making me mad. You know what I mean? Talking about some yeah, bring the
In and out a
truth.
little bit, brother Rob.
Oh, my fault, my fault. Um I'm probably because I'm let me all right, do I sound any better?
Much better.
Uh, much better. All right, so I'm thinking about it right now. It made me mad, bro, because it was black people here in Chicago, right, who so-called conscious and all of this, talking about some, yeah, bring the troops in here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we need. We need the troops. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck was you thinking? But you thought you was gonna be high-fiving the troops, you know, shaking hands with the FBI, you know what I'm saying, getting out your Uber in the morning and shit. The FBI agent gonna be your fucking Uber driver or something. You gonna be high-fiving troops on the way to work in the morning. Like, yo, goofy. How is it that we were so politically naive that we agreed with that goofy ass sentiment to bring troops in here? You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody did nothing to try to help a young man or something like that, man. Bro, it just made my blood boil, bro. So that's what brought me to YouTube, you know what I'm saying? And um, you know, that's what kind of brought me to YouTube. But oh, my fault. I know I got all off subject. I'm tweaking, bro. My
No,
fault. All
that's
right, go.
cool. That's why I do this. I do this to pick brothers' brains. You say
All
whatever you
right,
want to. You say whatever you want to say up on here.
all right, that's what it is.
Well, being that you're a lifelong resident of Chicago, so you're well aware of the problems and the situations that take place over the last few years. Being that you're a brother who have been there all your life, what do you think the solutions are? What do you think? What do you think the fix is for places like Chicago?
Sure. Well, you know, just being honest, bro, is a very you know, so we need a very complex solution, you know. So to start off, right, um, to address unemployment here in Chicago is not realistic. The market here is saturated with big business. So trying to compete with big box um, stores and retail establishments on their turf is not realistic. So I would say that we have to focus on creating small to medium sized businesses, and whatever is most feasible and that's already existing, you know, we would definitely have to support them and it be a strategic thing, you know, so that they business can grow. And then, of course, we would hope that they would employ our people. Um, the second thing, and these are the two things that we can do right away, you know. The second thing, the neighborhoods that we are in right now, to increase the property value, you know, what I'm suggesting is that every block club, right? Make sure that everybody, if we just did that one thing, you know what I'm saying, everybody on the block, like, you know, and this is just an example, everybody on the block just put in $10, and you know, and all the young men on the block, they just cut everybody grass, you know, to make sure everybody grass cut. By doing that one thing, right, you would literally put $10,000 in everybody's pocket in terms of their property value if they just did that one thing, you know. So that's what I'm saying. Very simple, we can do tomorrow type of investments. Um, Also, in terms of like our educational system, we need to really take advantage of our city colleges. Oh man, must have lost them. Um, Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right,
I
man,
can
my
hear you.
fault. I thought we had lost signal. Man, I got a whole
Yeah,
bunch of ideas.
my
Uh,
shit
Go ahead.
my shit'll go black from China. Where I'm at, we don't have poles and shit. Everything is underground.
Oh, I
So,
see.
we've been having a lot of rain down here, man, for like the past 3 weeks. It's been raining like every single damn day.
Oh, all right.
So kind
All
of
right.
fucks with the internet a little bit because all that shit is under the ground. But we good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Where you stay at, family?
I'm in the Queen City, man. I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina.
Down
What?
south. Yeah.
Raleigh? You in Raleigh?
No, Charlotte. Charlotte.
Charlotte. All right. Yeah. Nah, one of my mans, he moved from out here. He stay in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm gonna ride down on him. How far is Charlotte from Raleigh?
About 90 minutes.
About 90
For
minutes.
me, for me anyway. Everybody else says 2.5 hours, but I get there in 90 minutes. But that's just me.
Yeah. Hey, for real, Joe. When I ride down on my guy, man, I'm gonna ride down on you, Joe. We gonna put it on. We gonna put it live, Joe.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
it.
gonna
I
ride
tell
down on you.
everybody, do it. Do it.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I love meeting fellow YouTubers. Since I've been doing this, I've met up with 3 thus far.
Okay. Yeah, dude.
We sat down, we talk, we interview each other and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Hey,
love meeting up with YouTubers.
Yeah, Crew came and rode down on me in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? So that's ironic that
Oh,
you
okay.
yeah, that's ironic that you're about to interview him right after me because he came and rode down on me. We kicked it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? He was just in town for a day, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sure if he had a few more days to kick it with me, we could have really got into some things, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, dog, we
Yeah,
kicked it,
man.
dog. It was dope, you know what
I
I'm saying?
think we should, me personally, I think we should do more of that. I think brothers should meet up, go beyond these digital freaking discourses, that we have with each other, and actually meet up, shake hands, kick the shit, have a beer, do something, we should do that, and like I said, I've done it thus far,
Mm-hmm.
three,
Well,
three
look,
people, but
bro.
I have done it.
Man, look, bro. Best times in Chicago. This is just this is my personal opinion. This is my vibe, right? But it's called the African Fest. You know what I'm saying? It's in Washington Park every year, right? You know what I'm saying? So save the date, man. It's Labor Day weekend, right? Man, if you come to Chicago, I'm gonna set up a tent. I'm gonna cook. You know what I'm saying? Me and my wifey and our friends gonna be out there. Everybody gonna go into the African Fest. I'm a video a bunch of it. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can see. And so these vendors, this is the perfect example. I feel like economically, you had asked me about solutions, right? All of it is pretty much owned, operated by Black folks. The people who patronize it is Black. The vendors are Black. The people that organize it, they're Black. It's right outside of the DeSable Museum. You know what I'm saying? Who is the John Baptiste DeSable is the man who founded Chicago. It's right outside the museum. The curator of the museum is Black. You know what I'm saying? Washington Park in a Black neighborhood. Do you see what I mean? So that's for me. That if we talking about solutions, that's the template for solutions. But if I was to say to everybody tonight, right, what's 2 things we can do tomorrow? You know what I'm saying, to try to be a solution. You know what I'm saying?
And
Because
brother, you fading.
man, I'm on a hard line, so I don't know why I'm fading.
Shit, it might be on my end. Believe it or not, I was actually supposed to I got invited to Chicago by Tamar Manasseh. I don't know who if you know who she is.
No,
She's from Mask, Mothers Against Senseless Killings. And
okay.
she's been on my show a few times. And I was supposed to come, and get up with her. I was actually supposed to do that last year,
She out south,
but
right?
I haven't. Say what?
She stay out south, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she on
She's
like
out.
70, she on like 76 and Stewart, right? they sit outside and make sure people don't shoot nobody and all of that, right?
That's other people, you know, they cook, you know, they talk to people, they do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm
man,
supposed
I
to
know
come
the
out there and, you know, do some filming.
Yeah, I know the organization, man. I done rode down on them out there before.
And
You know what I'm saying? Ah, man, we going in and out, bro. Let me see. Man, I don't know if you can hear me, bro. I can't hear you.
did something.
All right, man, you just came back in. I just heard something. I didn't hear nothing else you said, bro. You can hear me? Ah, man, we got a bad connection, you know. But oh, maybe I should switch to Wi-Fi and take this. Yeah, maybe that's what I should do. It connect better with the Wi-Fi signal than the cord. Man, I don't know if you can hear me, bro. I can't hear you. My Wi-Fi all the way up though. Hey, can y'all hear us? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. My
Oh,
screen,
okay.
my screen
Oh, all
just
right.
went black for
Oh,
a
okay,
second.
okay. Cause I'm over here. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on. You know, so I had switched off my hard line and I went to the Wi-Fi signal. I was hoping maybe that helped.
Yeah, well, you know, T.P.O.T is haunted by ghetto ghosts, so you know,
Ah,
I'm kind of used to shit fucking up.
ah. Okay,
I'm used to shit fucking up. Now I'm up here twice. God damn it. Let's see if
okay.
I can knock this one off of here. Get that one out of there.
But
All right.
yeah, I was gonna say two things that we can do tomorrow, right, to help our situation. We must start being prejudiced with our love and with our money. With our love and with our money. The good brother said he focused on things he can control. Oh, that's something you can control right there.
Oh yeah.
You can control who that dollar that's about to come out your pocket. You can control who it's gonna go to.
Hmm.
You know, you can control who you spend your time with. You know, who you gonna lay your seed with. That's all a conscious decision. You know, and let me just say, I am I'm a happily married man. You know, my wife is beautiful. You know, and so my wife is a beautiful black woman. You know what I'm saying? Love everything about her, her attitude, her curves, you know, her hair. I love it all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm an advocate for having strong black families. Now, is that the cup of tea for everybody? Is that what I'm saying? No, not at all. But I'm an advocate for the black family. You know, I feel like that's uh a better starting point for our children, you know, when they see black men and black women loving on each other, respecting each other, not to mention all of the financial benefit that you get out of it. You know, you guys being able to combine y'all incomes on paper at least to buy property. You
Oh yeah.
know, it's a lot of things that you can benefit from structurally if you were to go and sit with an accountant. You know, they can tell you how to structure your money in such a way and different products that they got on the market, they money market accounts, CDs. It's all kind of ways that you can structure it to where something is always maturing, and you can see a little bit of your money, the way you can go on vacation and still be able to pay your bills. You feel me? It, these are things that you know, that should add to our quality of life. But in truth, our people got yeah, and I'm speaking in sweeping generalizations. I don't have a whole bunch of euphemisms and what I'm saying, acronyms and stuff like that. I'm the son of a country boy. My father also from Mississippi. He from Chula, Mississippi. What I'm saying? Mississippi, how they say it, what I'm saying? And so he always taught me, to think simple, and then by doing simple things well, you can create what it is that you looking for, whether that be complex or not. It is something that you can create that's sustainable. Most things that are sustainable are simple, you know and so that's how I try to think. I try to think in simple terms, but that's why my solutions are going to be simple. It's simple to say to yourself, man, love your brother, you know. But at the same time, our people just have a real deal problem, with it not being reciprocated. So I don't think we clearly understand what love is. What I'm saying? Love's supposed to be consciousness. What I'm saying? That's what it's supposed to be. You conscious of those people faults, and in spite of their faults, you love them. You see? That's what love is. It's a verb. It's something that will compel you to continue to do the right thing for that person in spite of the circumstances. In spite of, like I love my son. I'd be willing to put myself in harm's danger in order to help him. It's an in spite of thing. Even though I know something might happen to me. You see what I'm saying? So those are things that I think about, and but I love and our money. If we could do that tomorrow, that's all I think is solutions, and I just can't fix my mind, even though it's valid. I just want to. I know I'm rambling, but let me just since it popped in my mind, I just want to bring it up and just put it on the table so people will know where I stand after tonight. Even though some people on YouTube are ultra negative, all they can do is think about pointing out somebody else's flaws and things of this nature, right? And sometimes it's appropriate to bring it up, but listen, they toxic. You gotta leave them where they at. Don't entertain that shit. I don't entertain it, dog. I sit there, I listen, I try to, hey, did you think that maybe this might be a option instead of saying that niggas ain't shit? Maybe, the nigga didn't understand you. You know what I'm saying? I try to say it like that, but like, man, we just gotta stop jumping to the worst possible conclusion that we can think of our own people. Our own people. If we was gonna let anybody off the hook, it should be us. We the ones that was the victims of COINTELPRO. We was the victims of their redlining. We the victims of racism, Jim Crow. We the victim. So for us, that's like you show up to the hospital, in the cancer ward, talk about, damn man, shit fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You don't go and do that, man. It's inappropriate. I know why people are sick, but you don't go and point out how sick they are. You just leave them alone. That's it. I'm talking about in terms of these so-called content creators. You're not creating content. You're creating dissension. That's what you creating. You're not creating no content. That's not content. Those people just agree with your point of view. That's all. That's not a solution. That's a kumbaya moment. That's why they can't get nobody to sit on the panel and disagree with any of their points. Yes. That's the truth, man. Like I said to Brother Gab a few days ago. Look, man, if you gonna make extreme claims, you need extreme proof. You need extreme solutions. You can't just get on here and say that shit. People already sick. Man. I just feel
So
like we should hold ourselves to a higher standard. My fault, G.
let me let me ask you this then. So what is your take? I often ask brothers this. What is your take on this so-called YouTube thing, these YouTube streets? Do you think that things like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the others that's out there, stuff helps or hurts Black folks?
You know, to be honest, both. We could use it as a tool, you know, but because people are looking for somebody to reaffirm the justification that they gave themselves to do something inappropriate, to say something inappropriate. See there, they did it too. See, you exposed me first. You see? So because they looking for that and it's not hard to find, that's what makes it so destructive, you know? Um, but then at the same time, I see the power in the tool. If we could just somehow get everyone to acquiesce to the situation that we in, you know, the gravity of our situation, you know, we have somebody who, can make that claim, even though he didn't do it on purpose. He's sitting in the White House talking about African American unemployment is at its lowest level it's ever been. And we just had a Black president. You see? You see? And so because we can't be outright, you know, men, women, who we are, you know what I'm saying? And have to speak in code, that's the only thing that kind of take away from the power of the tool. But at the same time, hey, communication is key in war. Wink, wink. You know, communication is key in war. And if anybody don't know that these are perilous times, please pick up a newspaper. Sometimes they don't do a news story, they don't put it in the local news. Please pick up a newspaper sometimes, you know. Just go and find somebody that went and took the time to cover a story, talk to somebody, a first-hand account, and see what you see. Maybe that's what I should start doing, a series, Oh, what's new in the news that you ain't hear about on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? But that to me that's how I feel. Uh, and and just being transparent. A lot of the arguments and things that we talking about are somewhat petty. They might be interesting, but they are not a priority to our current situation. Our situation is serious. Our situation is serious, and we still kind of distracted with all of these petty arguments and a lot of butthurt individuals expressing their hurt feelings and not really looking at the big picture. What might make you feel good in terms of winning a debate does not work for the collective good, you know. And I'm not trying to pin any roses on myself, but I mean, that's where my mind is, and that's where it has to stay in order for me to do what I do every day, you know. So maybe I'm just, biased, and I just take everything so serious, you know what I mean? But I'm not one of these crazy people going around talking about black power to everything, and man, brother, check out this shea butter. Like, I'm not, one of them, over the top dudes, you know what I'm saying? But my heart is with black people. My mama is a black woman. Of course I'ma love black people, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The man that I learned how to be a man from. He a black man. You know what I'm saying? Of course I'ma love black people. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where my heart at. And I just feel like we just need to use this tool to the best of our ability. Communication is key in war, wink wink.
So, as a married brother,
Yes, sir.
as am I. I'll be married 18 years in April.
Congratulations.
Thank you. What's your take on the whole, MGTOW, red pill, like, King Sigma that was just on here a little while ago, he's a red pill guy, SYSBM. What's your take on those guys? Because obviously, you have a wife. That means you're family orientated, which means you think about community. You're an educator, so you think about the youth. So what's your take on the whole MGTOW red pill brothers?
Sure. To be completely honest, I haven't heard all of their talking points. When I was trying to listen and get a general idea, I didn't have a very positive uh, positive situation over there. You know what I mean? I was asking questions, and I felt like brothers was being disrespectful, and so I just exited the building. You did, because I just don't get down like that. So if I can't have a civil conversation with cats, then I just look for other sources. I haven't been compelled yet, with my little free time to do the necessary research to speak on it in any, specific way, right? But in general, like I said earlier, you know, I advocate for family. That's what I advocate for. It's not that I don't understand that the law don't don't work for women. I understand that. I understand that the law do work for women. I get that. You know. I understand that some of our sisters' values need to get in line with the goals that that will address some of the needs of our people, but of course I'm looking at it from community building, community development aspect. So in that sense I would say that I'm biased. Because I mean I have to have blinders on it, you know what I'm saying, because I believe in this stuff. And so women play in my mind a vital role. Why do I say that? Because that's what our ancestors said. That's what our ancestors said. And even though society might have then pitched us a curve, with the way that our women have been socially engineered, I would argue, um, um, you can't get mad at the pitcher for throwing a curve. You got to lay back. That's pretty much what you got to do. Now me personally, again, I'm only talking from my point of view because one more time, I'm a married man. I have a beautiful wife, right? And I don't have any problem with women. I don't have any problem with women, and I've never had a major problem with women. Of course, I've had women to be disrespectful, you know. But I mean, I've had men be disrespectful, you know. But the women, they gonna get the pass. You know, I'm not gonna hold a woman accountable for being disrespectful the same way that I hold a man accountable. You know, with the sister, she get disrespectful, I'm gonna tell her to go get her husband. That's what I'm gonna say. Go get your husband. Go get your boyfriend. You know, I have nothing else to say. You know what I'm saying? That's literally how I handle that. You know what I'm saying? You want to start talking about you gonna whoop my ass, you gonna get a pistol, all this kind of goofy shit. Man, go get them. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't talk to your crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I just leave it right there. Because I don't want them to feel like I disrespected they woman in any way, they queen in any way, you know? So that's the way I handle that. You know what I'm saying? And why do I handle it that way? Because I expect for you to handle it that way with me and mine. And if you don't, you know, there's consequences, just like it would be consequences in my mind if I did that to you. You know, so you know, that's pretty much my take on that. You know, I mean, I feel like women, one more time, they play a vital role, um, and we can't overlook that. You know, and black women in particular, because they are here with us. If we forget about their sacrifices, if we forget about their sacrifices, man, we more than lost. You know, Marcus Mosiah Garvey say, a people without a memory of their history is like a tree with no root. You know, grandma held a family together when granddad went to Korea and got killed. Grandma held a family together when granddad got hung. When granddad went to Vietnam and got killed. When granddad went to Vietnam and came back on that shit and couldn't provide for the family. He had PTSD. You know what I'm saying? And now he an alcoholic. Don't forget what grandma did. Grandma cleaned your stinking ass before you could talk, fam. One of these women gonna end up being a grandma. And then on top of that, be talking to black men. I think it is despicable for a black man to say that in no way, shape, or form is he gonna I don't date black women. It's despicable to me. You know, to paint all our sisters with that big old brush like that. We got the most beautiful women on planet Earth. The Creator gave us the greatest gift. They the most fertile women on planet Earth. Come on, man. Like I could keep going on and on. Now, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like I said, you know what I'm saying? Our black women play a vital role. And for a black man to say that he don't date black women and you came from a black woman, you wouldn't be here without her. For you to say that, for you to fix your mouth on, hey, you know how people be saying to each his own? Oh, to each is not on, fam. To each is not on. And you wanna jump in front of moving trucks, fam? Yeah, to each his own. I can jump in front of moving trucks if I want to. Yeah, go ahead. What you talking about is the annihilation of our people. That's what you talking about. I'm thinking about Fannie Lou Hamer. That's who I'm thinking about. Talking about you on date black women. I'm thinking about Queen Nanny. That's who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Harriet Tubman. That's who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Ida B. Wells. Where was them black men talking about lynching when Ida B. Wells was writing about it? And then got enough nerve to get, man. Yeah, that's how I feel about it, G. That's it.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question before I let you go because I got brother C.R.U coming up. Where do you see black society over the course of the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you think we will be at?
Man, brother, I'm an optimist. I always believe that we gonna win, fam. We got everything we need but each other. We got everything we need but each other. This is the most educated generation of Africans to ever live in North America in history. One more time. This is the most educated generation of Africans living in North America in history. We got everything we need but each other. So I'm an optimist. In the next 5 to 10 years, brother, I'ma be working my ass off to make sure that the needle is pointing up. That's what I'm gonna be doing, bro. Now I can't predict the future, but you know what I'm gonna be doing, fam? I'm gonna be working my ass off. Oh, I got some shit working, fam. The first thing that I'm gonna do, right? And I just go ahead and put my plans on out here. Fuck it, right? The first thing I'm gonna do, right? As soon as I get a couple of dollars, right, I'm gonna go get me a nice camera, fam. And then I'm gonna start catching people doing something good. I'm gonna catch people doing something good. I'm gonna catch people educating kids. I'm gonna catch people taking care of grandma. I'm gonna catch people doing urban gardens, organizing biddy ball, and you know what I'm saying, teaching kids how to fish on camera, nigga. That's what I'm gonna be doing, bro. I'm gonna catch our people doing good. I'm gonna catch our people doing something so good to where I'm gonna have so many positive images out here that when people be like, "Hey man, people scheming," you gonna be like, "No, people ain't scheming. People working over here. Look at that." You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have so many positive images to where you ain't gonna even be able to think about no silly ass, cheap ass. You know, look right. Let's say for instance, niggas say, "Man, Joe, I'm on the ground, G. Man, can you loan me $50, Joe? Man, Joe, please, man, I need it, right?" Right. 2 hours later, I see the nigga at the liquor store spending my money, right? You think I'm gonna get mad? Here goes some wisdom, brother. You know what I'm saying? Here goes some not giving you the wisdom, but I'm saying for any young people that's listening, right? Here go the wisdom. I just bought that nigga for $50.
Yep.
I ain't gotta do nothing else for that nigga for the rest of my life. Do you see that? He's cheap. I just bought him for $50. Do you see? He's never going to be able to ask me to do anything else. So every other action that I take forth towards that individual will be benevolence. Benevolence. This is the level where Black folks got to get to. There's 3 things we got to overcome, brother. Our collective apathy towards our situation. Next would be our collective of aloofness. Our collective aloofness. We just think I don't know, like it's just gonna take care of itself. You know, like the house plant just gonna keep growing whether you put some water in the goddamn pot or not. You know, right? And then last but not least, bro, we gotta put in that little extra, bro. You know what makes shit extraordinary? The extra. Other than that, it's ordinary. We gotta sacrifice something, fam, in order to get something. We gotta be committed to something for people to believe. And if we don't commit to, how are you gonna produce anything if you're not even thinking about producing? We spend 90% of our time talking about how fucked up we are. That's the problem. Man, look, I can name 50 people off the top of my head that did something great in history as an example of what we should be doing. I ain't about to be talking about niggas that's fucking up. They still living life. Maybe they might figure that shit out in a little while. You know, fall off the nigga heels a little bit so he can learn to grow. Like my man DS1 say first. He said all the time, we gotta build, we gotta heal before we build. My bad. We gotta heal before we build. How you gonna expect somebody to build something and they don't know shit yet? You ain't taught them nothing. You see? So it always go back to what in my mind, what I can do personally. I try not to talk about other people. I don't need to put other people down to pump myself up. As you can see, brother, it's late at night and I'm on fire. It's nothing for me, though. You know what I'm saying? Cause I mean, man, bro, this is me for real, for real. Crew will tell you, bro. This is me for real. This nigga, this how I talk. This how I get down. This is me. You know what I'm saying? So you know, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And man, hopefully you know, you'll have me back. You know what I'm saying? We talk about topics. You know, I know more than just about Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Being humble, man, but you know, I didn't study some shit, you know. I know a little something, you know.
Well, you're always welcome on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page, Brother Rob. I appreciate you coming through, man. Learned a lot. I got a lot of respect for you. Like I said, I went to your channel, man. I see how you get down, and I got a lot of respect for you, brother. You know, and I don't just say that to kiss up to you. You know, I say that because, you know, I have genuine respect for brothers who are out there literally doing something, not just talking about it, not just making videos about it. You are really out there actively helping people and changing lives. And I respect that, man. I respect that greatly. I just do. Um, like I tell everybody, you know, we get down on Thursday nights. It's like a berserker barrage brigade. You know, some of the craziest stuff on earth gets said on Thursday nights, but you're welcome to come on to the party every Thursday night on DXL, where it gets a little wound up. We always end up coming to some type of collective group thinking at the end of it. Whatever we started talking about or whatever we arguing about, it always ends up at the end, everybody digitally shaking hands and saying, let's do this again. So hopefully
That's
you'll
what
come
it
through
is.
on Thursday night. All
Hey
right.
man, if I can, Joe, I will. Sometimes I had games on Thursdays, so
Okay.
you know what I'm saying. If I can, I will, bro. And man, it was
Well,
love, bro. I felt
it's a
welcome. I ain't
it's a
felt like.
open it's an
Mhm.
open invitation. It's not time stamped. You know, whenever you feel like you want to pop in, just pop on in. That's all. Doors always open, brother.
Man, that's love, man. I appreciate you, God.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming through, man, and spending some time on the old Hours of Power, man. Don't let it be the last time, brother.
All right, not at all, family. I love to come back whenever you will have me.
Absolutely, man. Peace.
All right, peace.
Yeah. Just got off the line with Brother Rob. Brother Rob is an educator, y'all, you know, actually doing something in the world, you know, unlike many of us who aren't doing shit. He's actually doing something and actually changing the lives of young Black folks. Something many of us might want to think about. But up next on the old
Hours of Power. Hours of Power. Hours of Power. Hours of Power.
I got Brother C.R.U coming through in a few. Let me see. Did I send in the damn? I know he was in the chat a little while ago. Let's see. I know my email's been bouncing back. Hell is on through. Make sure it went through. Stop using Chrome, man. I think I'm gonna start using goddamn
What's up,
Internet Explorers. Oh shit, there you go. My man, brother C.R.U is in the house. What's good, brother?
man? I'm chilling, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was watching your channel the other day, man. I think you missed your calling, man. You should have been a stand-up comedian, man. Cause to me, you funny as hell. I've seen you, I've seen you on other people's streams, man, and you have me dying, man. I be like, I mean, because I listen to you, and you obviously an intelligent brother, but taking this stuff all that seriously. You know, you're not really taking it that serious. You know, a lot of us, we take it really serious. This whole YouTube thing, like we're really sitting in the room with people, but you're not like that, man. You're very lighthearted with the things that you say, man, and I just think you're hilarious myself. But let me get into some questioning. Ask you what I ask all the brothers to start off. What brought you to YouTube, brother?
I think I had my first YouTube account back when it came out, and I was just like listening to news and just a little 5-minute, 10-minute videos people used to make back then. So, but I didn't really use it like as a social media platform or anything, not like Facebook or anything like that. So after I got into like listening to like Tariq and Jason Black and you Boyce and a few others, then I like got more into it. My job, I was driving a lot, and I'm driving through different areas. So the radio station's not going. And you don't want to be listening to the same music over and over. I don't care, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. You can have your whole hard drive with you. You're gonna listen to the same music over and over. But then when you got YouTube, though, it's not that anymore. Because people are coming out with content every day. I mean, you can't even keep up with all of it. So it was about probably about 6 months ago. That's when I started this account. But that was after like listening to Angry Man and all of that. And I'm like, wow, there's different ways to do that. When you see the background and everything like that. Like I like doing like music production, video production a little bit, when I can. So it was like, this is a good way to like express myself, and also, throw my music out there for people to listen to, because I swear my music's gotten to more people just on my YouTube page than it has sharing it on Facebook and SoundCloud and stuff like that. So that's what really got me into YouTube, is just being able to like create different things and all of that.
So what do you think about Black YouTube in a whole? Like, because there's so many different factions of YouTube. There's so many different YouTube regimens, if you will. Inside Black YouTube, that is. So what's your take on the whole YouTube thing? I mean, what's your take on that?
I think as a whole, it's a good thing, because we're able to express different ideas to one another in a way that we couldn't before. If you were on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, you're typing the whole time, and how text don't come through the same way as if you're actually talking to somebody. And even talking to somebody, we can talk face to face, like I turn my camera on, we're talking face to face right here live, so then you can see like the little things in the communication, and kind of convey your message a little bit better in YouTube. So like I think it's great for Black YouTube. A lot more information is getting disseminated. Like for me, I canceled my cable. Like why am I watching cable when there's all this content on here that's actually uplifting? And you can't talk back to the TV. You can talk back to YouTube, you know. So I think as a whole it's good. Now it is kind of tribalistic, you know, like you said, all the different factions and stuff like that. But that's life, you know. Go to any city, go, you know, everybody's got their family, their clans and stuff like that. So I think it's normal. I think some sides go a little overboard, in my opinion. But I guess that would put me in a certain faction because of my opinion, according to Black YouTube, you know. So I don't really like you said, I take it serious, but I don't take it that serious. It's the internet, you know. So like somebody's mad, I want to know why you're mad or something. Or like if you just disagree, you know, we can talk it out or whatever. But I don't think I'm not beefing with nobody on here, you know. It's not like that. It's not like I can't go walk down the street and buy a gallon of milk because this YouTuber's sitting outside, you know. So that's why that's why I take it like that, you know. But I mean, in general, I just think it's a good way for people to express their ideas and get different points of view across, even if they're radical or outrageous or outlandish. Like Bro.Rob said, you got to bring like outrageous evidence. You know, you got to bring a whole lot of evidence if you're talking real outrageous like that. You know, so a lot of people do bring the evidence. Some of them are just talking. Some of them don't have solutions. Some of them do have solutions. So you get a whole range of things. So,
well, do you think that some of us may take this whole, you know, not just YouTube, you know, YouTube's a big part of it, you know, because everybody can kind of put their content out there and do, you know, these live streams and all that. But the internet itself, do you think that some of us may take it a little too serious? Do we take it too seriously, this whole internet thing?
I think some people take some of everything too serious, you know, at times. You know, there are certain things that you have to be very serious about right now. You know, then you can probably tell a joke about it a year later. Like, yeah, it's over with, it's done. But yeah, you know, but even like in wartime, right? You seen Full Metal Jacket, right? Which, and you know, that's the main media. But you know, even in their wartime, they were still telling jokes, even though they know like any of us could die at any moment. You know, but they still had their little light moments because you cannot just be gritting your teeth, just serious at all times. I mean, like, what's the purpose of life like that? You know, you gotta have time for, you gotta sleep, right? Are you serious in your sleep? You know, like people know how to smile for a reason. They know how to laugh for a reason, you know, but that also makes it so when you're serious, you can actually get down to business because you taking some of that burden, like shake your shoulders off type thing. And you've lightened up, loosened up so you can get into action, you know? So it's a way about it, but I think some things people do take too seriously, like, but you can do that with anything. But for the most part, I think it's a variety. It's a variety, various different people. So it's from one spectrum to the next. Some people are super serious all the time. Some people are not serious about anything at all whatsoever.
Yeah, well, in media, especially here on YouTube, there's a lot of extremes. You know, some I agree with, some I totally disregard as garbage. Let me ask you, when it comes to Black YouTubers like ourselves, who do you think is the most extreme? Is it Is it us brothers, or is it the women? Who do you think is the most extreme with their views?
I don't know. You know what they say about yin and yang. You know, they're opposites, they're different polarities, they're different. It's on both sides. You know, it's extremes on both sides. You know, I can't name one. Yeah, I can. I don't. But um, but no, they're on both sides. You know, there's the female version of this, and then there's the male version of this. Both the same extreme, but on polar opposite sides. You know, will not, will not, like oil and water. You know, they won't mix.
So, do you believe that there is a quote unquote gender war? Do you believe in that?
I mean, I'd never heard of it till I got onto YouTube. But like until like I literally got onto YouTube and started getting into the panels and stuff like that, I'd never heard of it. Like I would hear people talking about, white supremacy, um, you know, overcoming our oppression and different things in the news that the cops do and everything. But for the most part, nobody was talking about a gender war. That was when I got into the panels and stuff. That's when I started hearing about a gender war. And I don't see one like in real life. In my life, I don't see one.
So, where do you think this comes from? Gender war, I don't know, ideology, the whole gender war conversation. Where do you think it comes from? What is it about to you?
People wanting to vent, basically. They hear something that they like or something that resonates with them, and then they gravitate that way. You know, it like attracts them because that's something that they went through, and it's like I don't know if they know how to deal with it or not. You know, it's just like a sounding board. Oh yeah, man, all women ain't shit. Man, you right, bro, man. I know, cause man, my woman did, it's like being at the bar or the barber shop, We'll sit there and talk shit about women right there at the bar or the barber shop. But guess what? Oh, you see Shorty walking, and I'll be right back. And I'm gone. Why? Because I'm out with that woman that we were just talking shit about women like that, Like it's like it's just the barbershop. But I think a lot of people are taking the barbershop, half of it's the barbershop, half of it's the salon. And now both sides start overhearing each other. And now, now it's clippers getting thrown, curlers getting thrown, everything,
So, do you see, because you said you don't see it in real life, right?
Right.
So, you see it on YouTube. We all see it. We all see the panels. Everybody done had a panel about it, and most people have had more than one. So, do you see an end to it? Do you see an end to the so-called gender war thing? And when I say that, the talk of how black men ain't worth a nickel, the talk of how black women ain't worth a nickel. Do you see an end to that? In your opinion, do you see an end to those kind of panels?
Well, I figure it's ending. I figure it's ending right now by the way the world is moving. BGS broke it down the best, right? But it's like they're coming into our spaces, talking to us, sitting at the table with us, like normal, because they understand that none of this stuff is working. is not working. You know, this, oh, I'm independent, strong, and you know, I could be all on by myself. That doesn't work. You know, it generally doesn't work for women. You know, so I mean, nature will tell you this. You know, it's like when do you want to stop believing that you can breathe water? As soon as you jump in the damn river, you're gonna come right back over there and be like, okay, I understand. That's all it is. Nature's gonna make a correction and everything will be back in order.
So, like I said, I've seen you on many panels. I think I've been on a few with you as well. Are there, and I've asked brothers this before, are there any panels that, you know, if you got invited on it, you'd be like, nah, I'm good? Are there any panels? You don't have to name any names, but are there people out there that won't go to the having you're not interested? Or would you go on everybody's that invite you?
Generally, I'll go on pretty much, I'll go on most panels. Unless I feel like from prior experience or from just watching how they move on the panels, that even if you walk them step by step through the logic and they agree with the logic, they still stand on their own talking point, which goes against the logic. I can't deal with people like that. You know, there are a few of them. So
oh yeah, there's more than a few. There's it's become saturated with those kind of people. But yeah. Now, often what happens is if you're a person, and I know this, you know, from my own experience, that you know, you be in one group more than you're with other groups, or should I say be on one panel more than you're with other panels, that oftentimes what happens is because people are used to you being on this particular panel most of the time, when you go to another panel, they often feel like, you know, some type of betrayal or something, because it's almost as if, you know, you're not supposed to go to this panel, you're not supposed to talk to this person, and all this kind of nonsense. And I do mean nonsense. So have you ever had that happen to you, where, you know, you find yourself in a particular place a lot, and every now and then you may venture someone else, and people try to, you know, call you on the carpet because of it? Has that ever happened to you?
Not so much calling to the carpet, but like maybe a joke in passing, hey, you shouldn't go over there no more. You know, and that's just like a little private text or something. But it's a, you know, it's a joke, but it's not telling me you can't go over there. You know, it's just like, oh shit, you see what happened? Just like you said, people will feel some type of way. And then the panel that you go to, they're going to feel like you brought that mindset of all the other panels over there. You know, your boy, you know, 2 + 2 is 4, right? And he says, well, because you're on the panel with them, you must all think alike. No, that's why we're having a discussion. We don't all think alike. You know, if we all thought alike, what would be the point of the hangouts? Or is it just to strategize? And that wouldn't be the best way to strategize on a public forum like this, though. So, you know, but to me, it's we're just talking, getting different ideas across. You know, you might have some information about a book that I should read. You give me that, I give you a book. You might, you know, I do music. You might know a DJ. You know what I mean? Somebody else might need some promotion out with there. So we can use this for networking as well. But I mean, nobody's gonna tell me who I can and cannot talk to. That sounds like one of them gang laws they have back in Chicago. If you're in a gang, it's illegal, or you in a group of 3 or more, they're gonna get you. You know, it's stupid.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that here. Um, I guess that's why I've spent the last few months, by myself, as far as YouTube go. I mean, I'll pop up on panels if I'm invited, but for the most part, I'm not part of a clique or a team or any shit like that, because I'm my own man. I'm self-made. Everything I have, I worked for, I bled and sweat for. So I'm the type of person, I refuse to have people telling me what the hell I can and cannot do, you know, via my damn computer. So
Right.
um, but I like I said, I've listened to you and I've seen you on panels, and you seem like a pretty free thinker. You're not conformed to that. And I always notice that about brothers when I listen to them talk, that they are a free thinker. They're not part of any collective, no matter where the hell they at. They're gonna say what they gotta say, and that's it. So let me ask you this: Are you like that in real life? Are you say whatever it is you want to say? Are you like that in real life?
I think this is what YouTube does, right? You know how when people get drunk and it's like, oh, that's the real you. You know what I mean? If you're really a mean person, you be a mean drunk. You know what I mean? If you're a violent person, you'd be a fighting drunk. Shit like that. If you a laid back person, you get drunk and turn the music all the way up and start partying. That's what YouTube is. It is like it multiplies whatever you are inside, because you do have the freedom to be you from the computer. So to answer your question, yeah, this is me in real life. I go to work, I work around a whole bunch of them, you know, and I'm still the same me. I got my RBG hat on, I got, my bracelets and everything else, you know what I mean? Looking like I'm with the movement, you know, dreads and all, and I don't bite my tongue, but nobody talks to me any kind of reckless way. They always defer to me. Shit, I'm the boss, but also they always defer to me. So I bring my people up here. I put them on jobs. You know what I mean? I tell them this is me. This is me.
So let me ask you this: we often talk, and I've asked this of other brothers, so I'll ask you. We often talk, white supremacy, as I always say, and we talk about the white power structure. And oftentimes it seems to me that we often talk about fighting it, but the way we plan on fighting it almost seems, now this is my opinion, it almost seems that the way we plan on fighting it is influenced by the very people want to fight, if you can understand what I'm saying. So what I'll ask you is this: do you believe that we are so influenced by the white power structure and white supremacy that we don't really know how to fight it, because the tactics that we're trying to use to fight it have been influenced by them? What's your take on that?
Well, we've been influenced by them since we're here. We grew up in this society. We were educated in this society. We might have done some of our own learning, but pretty much we learned everything from them through their books. They're the publisher. Aren't we on their internet? Aren't we using their computers? Aren't we speaking their language? We're doing everything, but it's not just theirs, because remember who invented half of this shit? More than half of it, us. They got their language, the English and all of that stuff, and they learned everything from us. It's a variation of something they learned from us anyway. So yeah, it all goes around in circles. But our logic, we can get information from everywhere. but it's us who use the logic to get what we need to from the information so that we can be effective in what we need to do. So I wouldn't say that just because they might have influenced us somewhat, that like it's a failed struggle, or it's probably making things a little bit more difficult. But I don't think it's like a fatal flaw in it, because we still have logic. Going back to King Sigma's like breaking out of jail using the Shawshank Redemption, right? They didn't just all of us. Now you see, like some of them talk about, oh no, we just gonna punch the guards and just walk up out of here, right? No, that's not going to work. You know, you got to make your plan, and shit. If you got to dig a spoon and take a sock full of dirt out every day for 10 years, it's better than being in that bitch for 40 years. So you got to have a plan and stick to it. But the whole time while you sneaking everything out, you on your best behavior. You're doing everything to get by so you don't draw attention to yourself, so that you can work on your plan. Now, some people might say, yeah, that's cooning, or this, that. You get, tap dance. Everybody does. It's some way or another. If you got to get a job, you go fill out that application. If you got to do this, you got to do that. Now, there's a certain limit to what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Nobody at my job going to call me out my name, or, I act like I'm one of them, while I'm there. Like, nah, you going to respect me like you respect everybody else. Probably a little bit more because I beat your ass type shit, But you got to, you just use the logic, basically. We just got to use the logic. The information is there. We can use our logic. If this doesn't make sense, then let's do it this way. Oh, that doesn't make sense. We can try it this way. That's all the computers are. That's all our brains are, is logic circuits. That's all it is. It's just using logic.
Well, you mentioned that if you do things a certain way, people often, they say, oh, you're cooning, you're tap dancing, you're shucking and jiving, all this kind of stuff they say. Do you think that we overuse those terms? Do we often use, cooning and tap dancing and all this kind of stuff? Do we use those terms too much? Do we use them out of context sometimes?
Yes, we do. To me, cooning is when you throw your people under the bus, or you're just like over fake for no reason at all. If the cop pull you over and you see mad or something, and you, sir, what's, what I mean? I'm not talking to him, but what I mean? Yes, sir. Yeah, I have my license right here, sir. What I mean? Just be calm with him. What I mean? For everything in life, you're putting on a show to an extent. That's why you get your haircut. That's why you get your linings. That's why you buy certain clothes and dress a certain, that's why you do certain things, because you're trying to present yourself a certain way. It's the same thing, but I'm not going to take the disrespect from them. I'm not going to throw my people under the bus for their sake, or to ingratiate myself with them. To me, that's what cooning is. Some white guy says, I'll put you on my channel. I got 40 million subscribers. You can be on my channel. And then, but I got to say, oh, the whole black YouTube is garbage. That's bullshit. That's cooning. You know what I mean? That's cooning to the fullest. That's treacherous. But cooning is treachery. So treachery is a serious crime. It's not supposed to be thrown out there lightly. So. But yes, those terms are overused, because everybody does kind of put on a show at times.
Yeah, well, some of those things, like you said, I mean, you go to an interview, you kind of want to dress to impress. You don't go to an interview with your damn pajamas on. So I mean, you know, that goes without saying. Some things you have to, sometimes you have to adjust, you know, to achieve a certain thing. And often what I think happens with many of us black folks is that we're not really into achieving. We want to obtain, you know, we just want to get, you know, we don't want to work for it. We just do you think that in black society that many of us have the minds, have the entitled mind state? Do we have a mind state of entitlement about everything, about money, about life, about respect, about whatever? Do many of us have a mind state of entitlement?
If you grew up on TV, watching TV, yes. I mean, this is America. That's the propaganda that they gave us. We weren't always like that, but the more people started staying in the house and watching TV and listening to the radio and then social media and all of that, it just keeps getting drummed into their heads every single day, you know, over and over and over, that you need to be like this. The music itself too does the same thing. Oh yeah, I need to have these rims, I need to have this car, I need to have this model chick. And how did you get it? No, I just hustled. I whipped it in the pot, and it came up a model chick in a goddamn 500 Benz. You know, hey, what the hell? Nah, that shit don't work like that. You got to go get it. You got to make it. Even the dudes that do get it like that, if you talk to them, they'll tell you it wasn't no piece of cake. You know, they never got it easy. Everything in the media wants it to seem easy. You see how the cowboys, they ride across the desert in 10 minutes, have a shootout, and nobody got scratched. Like, man, it don't work like that, you know? It's the media. Everybody does feel entitled, but it's because of the media, the propaganda, and everything. People need to get off of the television, you know, get out the radio, and especially the mainstream, and like even come to something like this, to YouTube, or, you know, where you can just sit down and talk with people who have different ideas. Read some books. If you don't like reading, they have audio books. You know, when you're getting on the bus, driving to work, whatever, they got the apps on your phone. You can listen to audio books, get you some information, learn, expand your vocabulary. Audio books, I mean, the authors are awesome. You hear that word like, whoa, I never thought to use it like this, you know? So, I mean, there's so much people can do, but like you said, they are entitled.
So what is inside black society with us? What do you think would change that narrative? What would make it different? Like, in your opinion, what would change that whole mind state? What do you think it is?
Uh, I'm not a guy of the Bible so much anymore. Like I was raised, my parents' reverends and stuff like that. So, but I do remember a verse somewhere that said, when you preach to the people, don't send them away hungry. Like, give them some bread, get them a coin or something, so then they can see your good works, that you're doing something that benefits them. So, Gandhi said it as well. You be the change you want to see in the world. So brothers like me, you, brother Rob, Gab, JT, everybody else, you know, is actually on the ground doing this stuff. Do you know how much that rubs off on the people that we help? And then they're going to go do the same thing, and it's just going to multiply. But it starts with us. The individual has to do it first, but then it'll spread through the society when you're being of benefit to the society.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Well, I was talking to brother Rob before you, and he says that many of us on YouTube, and I know I'm guilty of that shit too sometimes, that we focus too much on, the negative shit that's going on. We highlight that, Do you agree with that? Do you think that there's too much negative things, too much negative content on YouTube?
I do agree with that. That's how you can that's how pretty much you can tell what somebody's about, right? Everybody has their moments that they've done something that you could say is negative or bad, you know. Somebody stole from somebody, or somebody, you know, committed a crime or did this way back in the day, but they don't live like that no more. So, but it was a real bad thing when it happened. They got punished, it's over with. But that doesn't set that person's life and say, oh, well, he's a killer, and that his whole life now he's a killer. You know, that was then different days, different this, different that. 50, 60 years later, the man has fed 100,000 people and, you know, sent so many to school and everything. Like, what do you mean? All our great presidents, how many people did they kill? But then that's the negative. But when you're positive, I think it can outweigh the negative. If you're actually doing things on the ground, you know, and it's not so much like trying to repay your sins or repay your debts or anything. You're just like, no, this is not what I want to do. The world would be much better if we did it this way, and we tried to build instead of destroy, do positive instead of negative. So it doesn't help if I'm pointing out every negative thing that everybody, especially in our community, is doing. What helps is, like Neely Fuller says, is find the things that we do agree on, and let's build on those. You know, it could be somebody that's pro-swirling, you know, somebody anti-swirling, but they all believe that white supremacy is bad. Well, that's a start. Let's work on that. You know, y'all can fight your other fights out later. But as for this point, we all agree that white supremacy is bad. It needs to be destroyed. It's a lie. You know, it's really their inferiority and all of that stuff. You know, why don't we once we agree on that, then we can put the other stuff that we do agree with together with that, and then we can start building. It's always going to be stuff we don't agree on. We're all individuals. Unless we're the Borg in Star Trek, we're not going to all agree on everything. And even them, they were fighting each other. So, you know. So.
Well, that kind of stuff, you know, requires leadership. So with leadership, you need leaders. What does leader, when you think of, you know, inside Black society, in the Black world, what does a leader look like to you? What do you think a leader is?
That goes back to the setting the example, you know, you being the change and being a benefit to everybody else. You got to be a producer. You know, you got to, everybody got to, whoa, shit, damn, look at X. Oh yeah, and he's getting it. He's getting that money. Or, you know, he's building, or he's helping people, you know. Everybody around him is happy because their lives are being improved because you're around them, or because of what you're doing and how it affects them. So then they will naturally get in line with you because you're basically providing the resources. It comes naturally, it comes organically. If you're actually doing something for people and helping people, you know, and maintaining your respect as who you are, and you just, you know, this is how you are, this is what you do, you're going to be a natural leader.
So
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
A leader doesn't say, hey, I'm the leader. You know, a leader is just moving, and then everybody, next thing he look up, everybody following him.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good.
So you're out in the Midwest, right? You're out in the Midwest?
Yeah, North Dakota.
Okay, you're way out. You're west. So living out there, I assume there's not many people who look like you and me. I'm assuming that.
So we're about 1.6%, and I would say that the 1% You know, we're probably the 0.6%. The 1% is real Africans, like immigrants, Africans.
So what is life like out there for you as a black man? How is it like, you know, being in like North Dakota? Like, I mean, how is life for you? Like, I know you work and all that kind of stuff, but you know, besides working and everything else, I mean, how is, you know, just daily activities, daily, you know, billion in that state? What is that like for you?
I mean, it's not as crowded as Chicago. You know, it's by far not as many like hip hop, jazz clubs and stuff like that. But you know, there are a few. Generally, I don't notice too much of a difference between here and Chicago, except for the fact there's less black people. But that depends on what side of Chicago you're on, what time of day, you know, what hood you're going through at the time. But yeah, you know, I miss having like just being able to go outside, and 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna walk past a black person. You don't see you'll walk past a native before you would a black person up here, generally. And then the black person you walk past is probably gonna be African, you know. But I mean, I'm mostly at work anyway. I'm here on YouTube, or I you know, I go out to the clubs or whatever when I feel like it. But it's not the same in Chicago, but I could deal with it. It's enough out here for me to deal with, and all I got to do is start bringing more of my people out here, and we take over.
So being out there, have you ever found yourself on the business end of discrimination, of bigotry out there at all?
The only time was I was leaving the bank, and it was some old dude coming out behind me. I held the door for him, you know, and he said, "Oh, yeah, you guys aren't all bad, you know. You work, you work for the hospital. I guess you all aren't all bad." I'm like, "What the hell?"
Oh, yeah, that's a backhanded
Yeah,
compliment, is what the hell that is.
yeah, I know. But then he said, smiling, he from South Carolina and shit. So I'm like, I guess that motherfucker did think it was a compliment coming from South Carolina and shit. I used to live in Charlotte too, you know.
Oh yeah,
So
I know. I'm down here, boy. I know what it's like down here.
Down the road.
It's crazy down here at times. When it comes to those kind of things, see, because you would think that you would run into more bigotry and prejudice where there's a multitude of white people, but that's not usually the case. That's something that I discovered since I've been in the South. I mean, of course you run into, you know, discrimination and shit like that, but it's more prevalent and more pervasive in places where there's more people of color. I know that's how it was with me. I mean, you know, when I was up top, when I was up north in New York, I mean, I ran into more discrimination and shit up there. There's way more black folks up there than it is down here. And it seemed like when you're in a place that has a large black population, that's kind of where you run into the most fucking prejudice and discrimination and shit, which makes no sense to me. Because like now I'm in the South and you see it, but it's not as prevalent, man. It's not as blatant. It's not as in your face. I mean, up north, that shit in your face. So is that the case with you? Because you were from Chicago, right? Where did you run into the more bigotry at? Do you run into more bigotry in a place like Chicago that has a big black population, or out there in North Dakota where, you know, there's like one black person every 20 miles?
Yeah, So I'll break it down like this. I think some other people broke it down like this before too. I think Dr. Claude Anderson, right? He said racism is not a feeling. It's a system. It's what they work against you. Chicago, I've seen that system in action, and it's like right beneath the surface to where you can't prove it. You go to the EEOC and it's like, well, they fired their white girl too. Well, damn, they fired 8 black dudes, but they fired a white girl, so they're covered. It's like damn, she was high on drugs and shit. Like, what the but now all y'all niggas going too. Up here, or where you see more white people, I guess, they make like an extra effort, in my opinion, like to make it at least seem like everything is above board, and they stick to the quotas. They make sure they don't say anything out of pocket. They write everybody else up as equally as they write you up. Like, it's like, damn, I'm part of the country almost. Never believe that. But, I always got, one eye open, finger on the trigger. I'll move around with my hand in my pocket for a reason, But yeah, you're right. It is worse where there's a higher black population. I guess it's because we're all in so much close proximity to each other. And then that's where the animosity comes in. Like they say, black on black crime, white on white crime. People kill who they're next to. Spouses being the number one. Like, what do you mean? People kill who they're around. Oh, crime happens because that's who they're around. People have feelings about people that they're around. I can't hate somebody I don't know. I can't like somebody I don't know. If I don't have any kind of interaction with them, how can I hate them or love them or like them or not like them or whatever? I don't even know of them. So,
well, you're out there in the West where there's a lot of white folks, and I assume it's a lot of white stuff like snow. Hell up there.
Last week.
So while you're up there, I mean, so I guess women are scarce. Black women have to be scarce as well, right? Because black people in a whole are scarce up there, right?
Yeah, that would, but you can find them though. I mean, you can find them. You just got to know where to go look. If you want a Jewish woman, where you go to the synagogue. You want a Muslim woman, where you go to the mosque. You go where they're gonna be. There's quite a few African restaurants out here. They're the clubs, but downtown, I know there's mostly all the college kids and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where they import the black chicks. They coming from out of state, coming up here to school and everything. You got people that come from out of town and they're nurses and doctors and things like that. They're out here. You just have to look for them. North Carolina, I mean, that state is all white for the most part. It's a big black population, but you know where they are. You get to them. You're more likely to pass a black person, but shit, go way out there in the country. And it's like you still know where to find them.
So being that you're out there and you're obviously doing pretty good for yourself, would you advise other brothers to, maybe venture out there? Because when you think North Dakota, when a brother talk about making a move, he don't usually think North Dakota. So, in an area like that, it's a good sized state, obviously. Would you advise brothers to come to places like that? Maybe not necessarily North Dakota, but out west, as opposed to say Chicago or Detroit or New York City or Atlanta, up there where you are.
I would, just because there's a lot of opportunities out here. I mean, there's several reasons. Like I listened to Jason Black and he was talking about Amazon and why they're down in Tennessee, right? And they split it up between New York and DC, their headquarters and whatnot. And then they said they're putting another FedEx hub out there. Well, right across the river here, they're putting a big FedEx hub out here. And he was like, yeah, that's the sign that city about to take off. They're just building another 19-story building. Whoa, 19 stories, right? But, I mean, I live right downtown, and like my rent is like a third of what it would be living anywhere in Chicago. It's probably half a Charlotte rent, you know what I mean, for like just a regular 1-bedroom and shit. But there you got the colleges, then you've got they train all the drone pilots up here for the Air National Guard. This is one of the most drone friendly states, the most drone friendly state in the country. And like you said, it's all this room, it's all the farmland, there's all farms out here. So this is where Chicago and everybody gets their resources from. Outside of Charlotte, it's all farms in North Carolina. This the breadbasket. So there is a lot, I mean, a whole lot out here of opportunity, So and the cost of living is so cheap. So I would say, yeah, they're hiring. So anybody say they don't have a job, come up here. I'll hire you. I'll get you a job somewhere else. If you're not working for me, I'll get you a job in another department of my job, Like there's so much that, I mean, the only reason people complain is the cold. So then I go back to what's his name, Bill Gates, and what them always hollering about, Al Gore, global warming. Well, I guess this gonna be beachfront property in a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you like 1 or 2 more questions before I let you go. So far as this media, YouTube shit that we've been talking about all night, where do you see this going? Where do you see this going in the next 5, 10, 15 years? Or just YouTube itself? Let's talk about YouTube. Where do you see YouTube going in 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, if they don't kick the chair from under us, this is going to be like, I don't know if you've seen like Ready Player One, that sci-fi movie. And dude's just sitting in his room and he got like 100 different channels on and he's watching all of them at the same damn time. Like that's how we're gonna be with YouTube with our virtual contacts on and whatnot. Shit, we might be in the game then, living in YouTube, getting jobs in YouTube, stuff like we're actually stepping into the matrix. We actually went blue pill. Goddamn. But man, there's no telling, but I do know this gives us access to broadcast ourselves and not just listen to the mainstream media and get different ideas and be able to filter through them. So as long as they don't censor it or, just make it so, only ABC and NBC can be on here, or start, they already got the premium and stuff. So as long as they don't start charging upload, I think it'll be a great thing. I think it's gonna blow up, and you're gonna get more people coming over here from the mainstream and getting new ideas.
So I'll ask you this final question with social media. Do you think often in most cases that social media has replaced socializing, where we don't shake hands anymore. We don't sit down and have a beer anymore. We just get on live streams. Do you think that it's in many cases that this social media thing has replaced some of our socializing? And have we suffered from that? Have some of our social skills suffered because we have access to so much media?
I think I see signs of it happening. Even myself, I'll be at a concert and I gotta record it so I can stream it live or upload it afterwards because I can't get a good signal down here at the live concert. Why I gotta stream something live that I'm live at? How many times you go out, you go to the bar, be playing pool, and instead of everybody just talking, everybody got their phones up, standing around the pool table. Like, what? I thought, though we can't, though if we're just gonna be on the phone all day, I could have sat at home for this. People be sitting right next to each other, texting each other. It's like, dog, you're not sitting in the courthouse. You're not in school. Why are you being so quiet? Dog, talk. People don't know how to talk anymore. So I do see that happening. When was the last time you remembered the phone number? Probably besides your own. Why? Because of the cell phones. They're all memorized now, so you can't remember no phone numbers.
I don't even remember my own shit. I forget that shit sometime. I have to think about it. Like, wait a minute, what is my number?
Right.
I think media is sort of like when you go into a basketball game or it's like when you go to a basketball game or football game live and you're up in like the 200 and 300s. You don't really get to see the game because they look like ants on a matchbook. So you're watching the game on the Jumbotron. So you're there, but you're not really there because see, you're watching the game on this big ass television. Something you probably could have just did at home for less money, less noise, and more of the shit and the people you like around you. But you go there and you sit in the 200 rows and you can't even see the damn players. So you're watching the game on the Jumbotron. And I think that social media is kind of like that. I think social media is like us where we're going somewhere to do something, but we're not really doing it because, see, we had this. This has taken place of us doing it. This has taken place of me and you having a beer or playing some pool or going to see a Knicks game or, this has replaced that in most cases. And I think that maybe, like you said, we need to do a little more reading and listening to audiobooks. We need to do a little more of that and a little less of this and TV and all that kind of shit. I just think that it definitely would be better for young folks. Definitely. But I appreciate you coming through, man. I enjoyed this, man. And like I said, man, like I tell everybody, man, that come on here, man, you're always welcome on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. You need to come through on Thursday nights for the headbanger brawls that we have on DXL one night. It get a little crazy in there sometime, but some nights we actually talk serious shit. Some nights we actually talk serious. But yeah, you welcome to come through, man, anytime you want, man. You got my information, hit me up. I appreciate you coming through, man. I enjoyed this, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me, man. If I say one last thing,
go ahead.
As for the social media, and yeah, we got to get out more. But also, when you go out, are you necessarily meeting the same like-minded people? Like here, social media, you're gonna gravitate towards more people with the same mindset or the same goals as you. And then you could probably set up some things to meet, like for real later on once you come put some plans together and stuff like that. But yeah, nothing replaces real life. But I think this is a good way to link up with people, though.
Yeah, man. And if I'm ever in North Dakota, which I probably will never be, I will I will definitely look you up, brother, because you seem like a cool brother to hang out with, man, have a beer with and shit like that, man. You just seem like that kind of brother, man. You'll probably have me laughing like a motherfucker the whole time too. So, yeah. So like I said, man, once again, man, I appreciate you coming through, brother. I do.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, man. Take care.
Absolutely, brother. Peace. Yeah, just got off the line with brother C.R.U. And you need to go down there and look right down in the description box down here. You can subscribe to all the brothers' channels that I had on the Hours of Power tonight. Brother King Sigma, Brother Rob and Brother C.R.U. Just go right down in that description box and you can go up to their channel, get on down there, subscribe, support the brothers' channels, because you know all the brothers that come on the Hours of Power are powerful brothers. So you need to get on down there and listen to what they got to say. I'll say it again right down there in the description box. You can link up to their channels and go ahead and subscribe. And while you're subscribing to them, you better be subscribing to this damn channel too, if you haven't done it already. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I definitely have brothers coming through tonight. I mean, it was good stuff, man. I have respect for all those brothers, because y'all know I don't invite people on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page that I don't respect. You know. Yeah, if I don't respect you, I'm not inviting you on my shit. I mean, that's just stupid. But yeah, I have great respect for all these brothers, and they all have like different point of views. You know, I like it when it's like that, man. When I have three brothers that come on and they all have, you know, they all stand on a different square. Man, that shit is magnificent to me. It just is. When the brothers stand on different squares and they talk different points of views, they come from different, you know, backgrounds. They have different careers and they talk about different things, man. I just think that's a great thing, you know, not to sound too sappy, but I just think it's a magnificent thing. Straight jacking, you know, I just do. But what I want y'all to do is show your behinds up here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. I don't even have a title of DXL tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe we'll go freestyle. Maybe it'll be a DXL freestyle. I don't even know. But I invite all the brothers who was on tonight to come through, and also the usual suspects. Y'all know who the usual suspects are. Jay Shine, Info Man, Obsidian, Nagone, Brother BMT. You know, the usual suspects will probably be around. But I invite other brothers to come through too, all the brothers, and we'll just, you know, kick the shit and see what comes of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're gonna do tomorrow. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do a freestyle, no specific topic. Just go ahead and just do some freestyle shit and just let brothers come on and I don't know, speak their minds and talk some good shit, and hopefully y'all will have your black behinds there. Also, what I need you to do right now is go to Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. Prophet of Thought, one word, series, the next word, on Facebook. It's a community page. You can go there. You can like the page, share the page, follow the page. You can even hit me up with a message. I always get back to you within 24 and 168 hours. Go ahead, like the page, follow the page, share the page. You can always run into old X there. You can usually find out what's going on YouTube page there as well. And while you're there, jump over to the T.P.O.T bandwagon page on Facebook. Also, that's a personal page. You can actually send that page a friend's request, and I'll make sure it gets confirmed quick. Scout's honor. Also, while you're doing that, going over to the Prophet of Thought series fan page. That's right, the Prophet of Thought series fan group page. Go ahead, request to be a member. You'll get accepted quick. If you having problems getting in the group, because I'll be having this shit going on, y'all, because I don't admin the Prophet of Thought series fan group page. I don't administer it, because I say this all the time. Sometimes my shit gets blocked. Can you believe that shit? They hold my shit for review. So I have to go ahead and be like, yo, can you let my shit through? You know, so if you're having a hard time getting in the group, because somebody had wrote me the other day, said they couldn't get in there, and don't worry, you should have got in there, because I did talk to my admins. You know, every now and then I got to be like, yo, let people in there. And also, can you let the Prophet of Thought series host post shit in the Prophet of Thought series fan group, if you don't mind, you know? So go ahead, request to be a member, And you have any problems getting in there, just drop me an email and I'll make sure they let you in there, because shit be bugged out sometime. Get on down there, check it out. There's always some good shit there. And like I said, it's a fan group page, so you got a whole bunch of people down there posting shit. It ain't just me running my mouth. It's other people down there running their mouths as well. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's right, Prophet of Thought on Instagram. Go ahead, follow us on Instagram. You're guaranteed to get a follow back. And here we go again with this Twitter shit, because I'm getting pissed with y'all, this Twitter shit. All right. I got all these followers. I got like 2,800 people in my fan group. All these people on the damn Facebook page. All these people on YouTube. Why the hell I only got like 42 followers on Twitter? Why? Why, folks, I ask you? Why? Are you too lazy to go to Twitter and just hit follow? Are you too lazy? Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. But anyway, I don't care how lazy you are, how lazy you feel. Get on down there to Twitter. The handle is at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, or I will haunt your dreams for the next 5 years. And also, got this animated series coming up, y'all. It's called Masters of the Wind. I am starring in it as one of the main characters. It's coming out very, very soon. It was an animated series created by my brother, Art Nostal. Y'all know him, the artist. He be drawing and shit like that. He created an animated series. He tapped me for one of the voices of one of the main characters. So when it hit these airways, when you hear the voice, you're going to know it's me. So be looking out for that. It's called Masters of the Wind. Be looking out for it. It's coming soon. It's coming very, very soon. So keep your eyes open. Anyway, I want to thank everybody again for coming out tonight. I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank my moderators. And I also want to thank you for coming out tonight, spending some time with us and watching us. And I also want to thank my most distinguished guests, Brother King Sigma, Brother Rob, and Brother C.R.U. I appreciate y'all coming through, brothers, and hanging out on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. And once again, if you want to hear more from these brothers, go on down in the description box and click on their channels and get on down there and subscribe and hear what these brothers got to say. All right. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do, open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all.
Let us open our minds. I know leadership don't need to run.
Peace, folks.
If we don't stop, we parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If we parade, they celebrate. At the birth of a child, I'm safe. Out of a slave. Remember your forefathers' tears, the lives which was lost for us to see peaceful years. When shots stop, moving things flat. If people pray, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If people pray, they celebrate. After the death of the child of a slave. Open our minds. The child of a slave. Open our minds. Only from T.P.O.T.